Fly so high they can't touch us. So top notch, none above us. We done came so far, now we up now. Had a vision, stuck to it, never back down. Never had much, now we own the whole thing. Spread it all around the world, watch it all change. Came alive, now they all see the greatness. Light shine so hard they can't take it.
Dancing with my fear, burning with desire. We gon' take it to the edge and come alive. Go to hell and back just to feel the fire. We gon' turn up in this place and come alive. Walk a different path, nothing can hold me back. I passed the point of no return. Something is calling me. It's in the air that I breathe. Bring me back to life again. Dancing with my fear, burning with desire. We gon' take it to the edge and come alive. Go to hell and back just to feel the fire. We gon' turn up in this place and come alive.
Come alive. Come alive. Come alive.
out to try if I give my all, my all. I need to know if you feel just like the way I feel for you. And every single day can't find the words to tell you how I feel, but I know that there's nobody else that does it like you do. It's in the way you move. Oh, I've got it right in the nails, 'cause when I look at you, oh, I believe it's true. That there's nobody else. Out all the gates of heaven, would you fall with me to hell, to hell, to hell, to hell? I need to know if you feel just like the way I feel for you. And every single day can't find the words to tell you how I feel, but I know that there's nobody else that does it like you do. It's in the way you move. Oh, I've got it right in the nails, 'cause when I look at you, oh, I believe it's true. That there's nobody else. I need to know if you feel just like the way I feel for you. And every single day can't find the words to tell you how I feel, but I know that there's nobody else that does it like you do. It's in the way you move. Oh, I've got it right in the nails, 'cause when I look at you, oh, I believe it's true. That there's nobody else.
I'll be your destination. Tell me your favorite song. Make me your next location. Darling, what you waiting for? I'll take you around the world to show you how I feel about you. Vegas, or we can fly to Rome. Ciao, Bella. Let's hit Jamaica. Everything I read. Tequila down in Mexico. We can lay low, spend a week under the covers. We can go to Saint Tropez. What you got to lose? your destiny, slay your enemy, raise a legacy. No more apologies, trust your abilities, gather the energies. Pull yourself back together, been staying off track forever. Child of the nation, will seek redemption, time for salvation. Today is meant to be a day of victory, time for history. Reverse the tendency, fight the entropy, channel your rivalry. You're praying for fortune to come, you're hearing the sound of the drums. It's too late to backtrack, go pack your bag now, keep your feet on the ground and stand up. You've got what it takes to fight back. Don't stop until you black out, out, out. Stand up, up, you've got what it takes to fight back, back. Don't stop until you black out, out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. Stand up, up, you've got what it takes to fight back, back. Don't stop until you black out, out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. Go save your team, be a hero. Take home the cup, be a star. They waiting for you, take aim, shoot your arrow. It's your time to shine, show them who you are. Stronger, gotta go faster, gotta get better, gotta work harder. It's fight or flight now, get up now. Go with the move, go for the goal, lead up the stadium, you know how it's done. Stand up, up, go what it takes to fight back, back. Don't stop until you back out, out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. Stand up, up, go what it takes to fight back, back. Don't stop until you back out, out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. Stand up, you've got what it takes to fight back. Don't stop until you black out, out, out. Stand up, you've got what it takes to fight back, back. Don't stop until you black out, out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. Stand up, you've got what it takes to fight back, back. Don't stop until you back out, out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. I wanna be your Ottawa rock star, 6 feet, jumping on your dad's car. I could be your pretty boy killer, just another season that I can't control. I'm losing my cool, you already know. I'm losing my cool. I wanna be the death of the party, fill my lungs till I can't hold on to you. What a beautiful view, and I'm losing my cool, and I can't control. I'm losing my cool, you already know. I'll play the fool. I'm losing my cool, you already know. I can't control. You already know. I wanna be a Ottawa rock star, 6 feet, jumping on your dad's car. I could be a pretty boy killer, just another season that I can't control. I'm losing my cool,
I, oh yeah. Ooh. Yeah, yeah, I see no signals, no signs. Girl, you be tripping, no lies, nah. You said je ne sais pas. I flew in all the way for this. I'm not here to waste your time. I just can't give you vibes, you changed a bit. Girl, you mad teasing. I don't mind leaving, just let me know. She told me take it easy. Hey, yeah. I just came here to make y'all feel good. You know what the message is. Suddenly you're with me now. You know what the message is. I'll be running wild for you, babe. You know what the message is. I don't have no patience. Ain't no conversation. You're my mission, my grand prize. Catch my vision, no damn pride. Girl, you max easy. I don't mind leaving, just let me know. Then she told me take it easy. Yeah, yeah. I just came here to make y'all feel good. You know what the message is. Suddenly you're with me now. You know what the message is. I'll be running wild for you, babe. You know what the message is. I don't have no patience. Ain't no conversation. Feel good. Sometimes make you feel good. I just wanna talk, but you don't wanna listen. Tryna go far, but you got mixed feelings. So I'm finished. I'm on my way. Then you tell me you need it. Back in my space. Hey, yeah. How could I lie? Just to be cold. Wanna be honest. You should know. I just came here to make y'all feel good. You know what the message is. Suddenly you're with me now. You know what the message is. I'll be running wild for you, babe. You know what the message is. I don't have no patience. Ain't no conversation. Feel good. Sometimes make you feel good.
Jerem, hold this. That's one. That's two. Somewhere around the corner. He's getting the spray down. Only one left to ace this, and he's going to hit that shot with the judge. Grabs the first pick, pops the knife, pops the head, pops another. Goes to the high ground, gets the fourth. Can he get the ace? He can. Push up there, and that's the first one tap, two tap. And there's the spray down, and it's a collateral ace with a go. It'll be up close and personal. Spots the raise, sprays him down. Now it's a 1v3. Sage dodges the Skydog. Here's one inside of the spawn reloading, forcing this player back in a 1v3. Spots one, gets a shot, gets another. One away from an ace here. Can Nobi do it? And he does.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Imperium Elite Series Tournament Finals. Very excited to be here today. This is the first ever Elite Series sponsored by AfreecaTV. I appreciate if everyone came out yesterday and watched the stream. Today is going to be even better. We are in the tournament finals, the Yonkos versus the Grid. With all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to my amazing casters, Edu and Vincent.
Well, Vincent, it is finally finals here at ICE, and we are ready to really just watch this best of 5 go down. Lots of gameplay we saw yesterday. I believe we had a solid 7 games non-stop casted back to back to back. But Vincent, how are you feeling to be back here on the finals desk?
Well, I'm feeling hopefully exactly the same as these players. They need to be rested and in for potentially a long game today. Best of 5 series with the potential to go the distance. I think we'll get all deep and into the analytics, though, as we move forward. I'm excited to get things started after that Yonkos run yesterday and to really meet for the first time the Grid, who we didn't get to see on stream, believe it or not, as we peek at how things went down from the quarterfinals onward. Yonkos were sort of a main character, I feel like, and that we got to see them in that semifinal game. They played very well, did a little sweep of the street sweepers, and it was going down to the Grid on the other side.
Yeah, and we didn't see a lot of the Grid, as you pointed out, but I've seen a lot of this team roster here for the side of the Grid. As we have not seen them on stream today, I actually watched them play under a different name over a few different tournaments, actually. They've been recently playing a lot on their academy team, Mimic GG. And if you guys are familiar with Mimic, they had a great showing at Frost a few weeks ago, and they just kept going. They compete in that tournament weekly. So the players there, Beaver, Toskri, all of them, I've seen compete very often here. So I cannot wait to see what they bring, considering they made it this far in the tournament. But as you pointed out as well, Yonkos, we love them. We've seen a lot of them, and I can't wait to see what they bring for us today.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I start, right? Is that Yonkos looked very good and were able to take out Street Sweepers, a team that kind of took out the team we expected to be here in the finals, to be honest. So that kind of lends some credibility, if you will, to their run immediately. On the other side of things, the Grid didn't seem to have too much trouble. It was a 17-15 game on Fracture, the first map of that semifinal. But then on that second map, the Grid just kind of rolled. I think it was 13-4 at the end of the day. So they were able to eventually close things out. But let's talk about some individuals, because here's a bit of a highlight for the Grid specifically. And Fan B has had some very good games throughout this tournament. This is one of the best. One of them on Lotus yesterday really dominated, and up against Toshi, who I think you and I would both agree has been a consistent factor for this Yonko squad.
Yeah, honestly, we've seen them play a lot, but I also want to point out some of the stats here of these top players. Toshi definitely came up large yesterday here, Vincent, with Bind being their best map. 26 kills, 7 deaths on that map. So they really just stood out for us. And, Bind being one of those maps that is always nice to see. But, of course, you can't talk about one without talking about the other on the side of the Grid, Fan BF4. This player I've watched a lot. I might be a fan of Fan BF4 because something about this Sentinel player really just locks things down for us. He's incredibly consistent in getting round wins and playing objective. And as a Sentinel, that's what you got to do, Vincent.
It is. I want to add some context to the stat line, though, from Yonkos here, especially with what we're talking about with Toshi. That Bind game was a very early game in this tournament. So it was against maybe some lesser opposition, generally speaking. I think you do have to keep that in mind. That doesn't take anything away from how impressive the stat line itself is, but keep it in the back of your head when you're looking at these numbers and when you're comparing them head to head. I think that bears mentioning. With all of that being said, don't know if we're going to see the same level from either Fan or Toshi today. What I do know is that we have the picks and bans ready here for this best of 5. And I'll just throw the bans out there, and I'll toss it over to you for some of the picks, because, well, first off, Yonkos taking out Bind, despite that great performance from Toshi on it. And then Pearl removed by the Grid, which makes a lot of sense considering we saw 2 very good Pearl games from Yonkos yesterday on stream.
Absolutely. And then also being able to now see Lotus as a map pick here, I think is very powerful for Yonkos' side. If they lock in Lotus, one, it's a map that's the newest, but it's also a map that comes with very unique strategies. A lot of double controller, a lot of maybe even double sentinel I've seen on this map do wonders here, especially now that we have, Deadlock approaching on the horizon in the main competitive scene. Lots of things are going to be looking forward to, but also Fracture as the grid's pick. I wanted to know what your thoughts on of Lotus into Fracture.
Well, I think that Lotus is actually one of the few times in this series that we have some crossover the map pool, right? The grid played that a couple of times yesterday. Yonkos did the same. So the fact that we're going to see Lotus, I think there's a possibility for a lot of close gameplay on that first map. Fracture, on the other hand, I think that the grid, that's where they'll find their biggest advantage early into this series. Once we get past that, though, where we get towards Haven and Split, that's where things kind of become a lot less confirmed. But for me, here's a chance, I think, for the grid to kind of come out swinging, right? This is an overlap in the pool and a spot where they, if they can get the advantage, can potentially win Fracture and have a map point early into this series.
Perfect. And that's the next two maps coming up. But let's jump straight into the agent selects here for the side of Yonkos, and the rest of their team. This is... Oh, never mind. Looks like, unfortunately, we're having what we had last day where, it's Valorant. Indie developer will crash sometimes. So with that, let's keep talking about these picks then. Yonkos on Haven. Now, that's their second pick here for Yonkos. Now, Haven, Fracture, Lotus. If you're noticing what I'm noticing, it's the fact that these are very large maps that have very unique playstyles and a lot of different types of team compositions you can bring to the table here, Vincent.
It is, and I don't know necessarily if the difference in playstyle will end up being the key. It could be. But what I do know is that both teams have kind of built a little bit of a space for themselves in this map pool, it seems, and Lotus being for the one that both teams kind of play a lot of, but Fracture very much in the grid's category of comfort. And then the same true for Haven for Yonkos, and it goes back and forth as such. And that's kind of why I was talking in the pre-show when we were in the green room. I was saying, honestly, there's chances for the grid, if they can come out strong on Lotus, for them to apply a lot of pressure early. But if that doesn't happen, I think there's a real possibility that this goes the full distance, because both teams have a significant advantage on their map picks. And I know that you would expect that, but there's a limited crossover in that map pool.
Yeah, very limited crossover here, but I also will point out the types of agents these guys really like to play, especially Stunny on Omen Viper as his main lock-ins here. I can expect only good things from them. Omen Viper is the two agents that you see on Lotus and Haven and Fracture. I would argue, though, maybe instead of Viper on Fracture, you'd want a Brimstone to counter a Killjoy, which is almost always picked here.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I think that the question of the composition is more about how it's going to be played than, or I should say, how it's going to be played and the individual, as you were kind of alluding to, than what it is that's being picked specifically. Especially on a map like Lotus, where I think there's actually a lot of different ideas that you can go with. Not all of them are equally as effective, right? But there's some really valid different options, like you were talking about double controller and that possibility. I love to see a Harbor come out on the likes of Lotus, as I mean, we did see it on Pearl from Yonkos, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. Big fan of that possibility. And then, well, listen, there's only one singular map that Gecko can be played on, and that's Lotus as well.
Absolutely. Gecko, one of my favorite agents. I actually just got done playing a game on them because the ability to have Wingman is, it's always a good feeling to not have to plant the spike. A very unique playstyle. And not having to defuse the spike, I think, is even more powerful. Instead of having one person that cannot use their weapon, having a completely unoffensive piece of util do it is insane. But now that we're jumping into Lotus, finally, I believe we do have everything loading perfectly. I gotta ask you, with this map here, there's been a lot of iterations of it, a lot of different metas throughout the months that it's been released. What side does it favor? Do you think it favors any side? Is there anything it leans towards?
I'll be honest, probably not the best person to ask in that I haven't kept up as actively since the collegiate season has ended. But last I checked, still I think a little bit on the attacker side, and I think that stands true generally. Obviously, when you get down to an individual team, things can be a bit different. But that's my feel. What about you?
Well, my feel personally is that these guys are going to go into a map that is attack-sided if they can get planted on C. It's very situational which side is which. If C gets planted, the post-plant is heavily favoring attack. The mound hold is insane. But, of course, having these guys being able to just rocket in and keep that connection going, I will point out, C site, yes, is one place to go. Attack also is very aggressive towards A. If you are mastering of that aggression, A site's very easy to take. B, no one should go there at this elo, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. B is a literal death trap, in my opinion. And there's a few exceptions to the rule of just never go B. Like, it's fine as a feint, and on the pistol round, it's okay. If you have some bit of utility or an ultimate like a lockdown to use, then also more reasonable. But as a general rule, on a gun round that you're not having, a specific plan in place with ultimates, yeah, it's just not ideal in my opinion. That being said, I'm always interested to see new and more different ideas to maybe make that site more attainable.
Yeah, more attainable, but we have to attain something again, as we have now discertained that we're going to have to restart the game again. So this is going to be pretty fun. So let's get out of the lobby, launch it again, and it wouldn't be a Valorant tournament if it had, of course, no issues. So, Vincent, we've talked a lot about Lotus, but there's 5 maps here. Now, bringing it back to the other bans here, the other things that people do not want to be on, of course, I'm looking at Split. We talked about that being the final pick of the grid here, and the decider being Ascent.
Yeah, so let me kind of start from the back. I know I talked a little bit about Lotus and Fracture, so I want to go back all the way down to where we might be ending things out tonight on Ascent. Well, first of all, I think that makes a lot of sense, seeming as that's another crossover. We kind of start from a position of, hey, we're on a map that both teams play a bit of, and then we go back and end on a map that both teams are somewhat comfortable on. So it's really solid to see that's going to kind of bookend our series here today. And then Split is one thing that I'm a little bit unsure about, honestly, for Yonkos specifically. Don't really know what their level of comfort is. They played it once already this tournament, but it was early in the bracket, and it was a very close 13-11 win. So I do worry a little bit about where Yonkos are headed on that one as well.
Yeah, I am worried in the end game here. Obviously, there's a chance that we might not even see it. A very slim chance, knowing these two teams personally. But there, of course, that chance that it goes to a 3-0, where it ends on Fracture, Haven, and Lotus here. So that opportunity definitely still arises. So if that does happen here, I'm going to have to just see what can go down. But as we do have the small but probable chance of these guys being able to end it at a decider, I think Ascent is going to be the most aggressive, strange, and honestly, knowing Ascent, unique way to play it towards the end, because this is when you have two teams that know each other because you've played against each other now 4 rounds. So honestly, if it gets to Ascent, I can expect that game going to overtime. I might have to bite my tongue though.
Yeah, honestly, I think that as much as we are waxing lyrical here a little bit, the reality is that this is potentially set up to be a close series. As I was talking about, I think there is a world where the grid can actually win this pretty easily and pretty swiftly. And I say that because of their comfort on a couple of these early maps, but that's also dependent on where Yonkos' comfortability is on Fracture. We haven't really gotten to see Yonkos play Fracture this tournament, so we just don't know where they're at regarding that map. If they come out and they're suddenly very strong on it, well, then 2 out of the first 3 maps are Yonkos picks. Yeah,
I mean, lots of the picks are favoring Yonkos here. And honestly, we saw Yonkos play on Ascent, I believe, one time. And when they did play on that Ascent game, they started off each time, I believe, pretty strong. It wasn't that close up until the second half of the game. So they start off really strong. It's the finishing it off that a lot of teams have issues with, especially when you switch sides. It completely changes the dynamic that you have become accustomed to. For example, if you're a Ben attacking, you can't bring that same kind of aggression to a defense round very easily without getting punished by another team.
Indeed, it looks like we're finally ready to get started. Had a little bit of a hiccup here and there with a couple of FPS issues, but now they've been resolved, and so we will see a bit of a early orb collection for the attack side. And it looks like back towards A is the plan of action. Naj in defense, just a jump spot or two. Spot one out and then has to fall back.
Here we go. These finals kicking off strong with a fast A push here. This is already starting off by this side of attack to get the first blood by BF4. Now, Naj going down. That is the person that we know, Vincent, is a demon on pistol round.
Can absolutely pull off Collector 2. Nice flash. That's beautiful. Both players go down. Fan for 3. Toskri is going to have to work back in here. Does get 1 or 2 kills, does Tashi, fortunately, but Toskri onto Tashi will end things out. As we talked about before, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun to watch these guys now duke it out. But with pistol round underway and over, now I will point out Toshi being able to get that 3 kills definitely helped, but Fan BF4 already rocking the Phantom here is going to be very happy about their positioning here, as that Phantom should shred through any of these non-armor wearing people.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty free if you get the chance to utilize that. Already some early information. That's something we didn't talk a lot about, is the Cypher here on Lotus. Not the most common Sentinel pick, I feel. I mean, if there's a map that you still see a bit of decision making regarding the Sentinel, it is here, but I feel like it's not often the Cypher comes out to play.
Yeah, but looks like the Cypher is coming out to play very early on, taking out Toshi. There goes the top score, but it's a big attack, a big, just holding it down, running it up, and that's a triple kill for the Cypher yet again, already at 6-1 with an ultimate in hand. And this Cypher ultimate is, I think, one of the fastest gathering ults compared to Phoenix. I would say is the only one just as quick.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's also one of the least powerful ultimates in the game, so it kind of makes some sense. There is one thing that I want to point out, though, for this attack side early on for the grid. One of the biggest weaknesses I find with Gecko on this map, like anytime I've seen it played, it's that I feel like the utility is really poorly used. Already 3 assists with the mosh pit, or excuse me, with the wingman. Like, I feel like that's really, really impressive.
Yeah, and Dizzy going out, always getting these blinds off, being incredibly aggressive. I mean, this team composition is aggro. You have double initiator and, of course, a raise. So let's see what they can do with it. Toshi holding the site down with his Vandal grab. Toskri grabs Beaver as well. And let's see what else they can do. Toshi popping an ultimate, jumping up, but gets the pick. There, of course, is the Cypher, though. On the double kill, needs to make it 4.
Honestly, nice attempt in that 1-on-4 scenario, but individually, the Rays just having so much success in that last round, doing a fantastic job. And Toshi, I mean, we talked about them as one of the ones to watch prior to this game. We talked about the stats that they were putting up. Actually picked up 2 aces yesterday as well. Definitely got to look out for Toshi. Picks up a 3K there with an early showstopper as well to kind of add insult to injury.
Yeah, the showstopper early on. Round 3 use, very powerful. Fan also using their information tool, being able to pop that ultimate early on in these rounds, and now already halfway to getting a new one.
Exactly. You know, using that, a lot of times there's some criticism, right? Usage of ultimates.
Wait,
oh, what?
He was using the dog. You didn't know.
Oh, you're right. That's tough. Early pick and a freebie. Rare to see an aftershock kill, especially early in a round or at all these days.
Well, aftershock, sometimes it's a shock to us after it works. But looking at Toshi, This is the player who's at the top of the scoreboard for a reason. When you push A, you get punished, and that's what's working out. So far, this A-sided stackish is helping them quite a bit, but what is the attack going to do? This map has 3 sites. Both you and I agree B is a suicide point, but with a Gecko, you might be able to get the free bomb plant here, and then it's all down to the post.
Yeah, Gecko does actually help you open up the B site relatively easy comparing to other compositions. Still holding on to that site is difficult. The showstopper will allow a lot of space to be worked with. Unfortunately, those nanoswarms are going to lock out the rest of the players from getting forward. Toscree ends up finding Ambot and is going to create a ton of space, not only with the boom bot, but sticking around. And if you're going to hold on to this site, the key is to take that space.
Oh, I think it was a big misplay not to get the spike down, but it doesn't matter if you have the aim to back it up. I mean, beautiful job there. Now, this is going to get us tied 2-2. So winning round 4, you know the curve. It should be a thrifty round or a loss here for the side of attack. They don't really have a lot of money remaining to try to force up, but Beaver forcing? Nope, yeah, bad idea. Luckily, you know, you told me that you cast a lot of Counter-Strike, and I'll point out the fact that Valorant lets you sell guns is just so nice. It's so nice.
You know, listen, I understand the audience we have here, and this is going to be controversial. It's nice, but I think it makes it, it really makes it a lot less punishing, and I like that about Counter-Strike. I like that you're punished for decisions that you make. Make a good decision next time.
I mean, yeah, but it's such a small decision in the grand scheme of things when you have to worry about so much with ability usage, agent selection. You know, I think it balances out.
Ooh, speaking of balance, on balance, Ambot taking in an early engagement. Will fall back, though. Doesn't want to get caught out in the open, and that's fair enough. Definitely a struggle. Dizzy doesn't catch anything, but can be recollected as the approach towards C seems more likely than not with everybody over towards Mount.
Yeah, Mound stack here. They know that they have to stop the bomb from getting planted, or it's going to be very hard to hold this down. Toshi's definitely helping out, though, with this Phantom shredding through these players. But look at that, 6 HP. Ambot will now have to try to get some more picks. It's a 3 against 3, and somehow Attack has managed to put themselves in a great spot. But Toscree is unlucky, blinded by what? An ultimate?
Literally everything.
Omen? Anything that can blind hit that poor player.
Yeah, that man couldn't see a darn thing. Temps there. Speaking of blinds, nice Temps with the guiding light. Pelt will take the additional fight and, well, unfortunately won't find much success, though a couple of kills. I mean, 3 to be precise. No spike planted, but that's not as important, I think, as making sure some weapons get taken out, forcing some rebuys, and that's exactly what was done. Here's the big one, the big round that we've been talking about, that we've been leading up to, the gun round, into round number 6 here. Chance to take back the momentum after 3 losses in a row for the Grid.
Yeah, 3 losses in a row. I mean, it's not where you want to be, but here's the thing. It's kind of the expected curve there. You're going to have to try to win thrifties, but now I'm looking at what Ambot can do here. Put the I in aimbot. That's what your name says. But can you do it? Having to now back it up. Toscree. I like the aggression that we're seeing from this raise so far. It's definitely helped getting these entry frags, and they're actually using the Thrash to try to get that space created.
Yeah, Seeker's kind of adding to that. Nobody has actually committed to that site because of all that utility, and Timotino with a connection. Van finds a blind Toshi, and everyone else sort of falls apart towards the site, leaving 2 retakers for the defense to work with. Yonkos gonna have to try and make some magic happen, and they're even cut off by a mosh pit for a few additional seconds.
Ooh, almost got the stun off, but it's about the aim, and it looks like Pelt's got it, doubling it up and getting a beautiful final 2 kills there, now tying us up to 3-3. This is the kind of score that you want to see in a finals, in my opinion. A back and forth with 1 or 2 players really popping off. Fan BF, 12-5.
Yeah, really stepping up early into this game. I mean, you know, we talked about the individuals, and I'll be honest with you, it's not always a guarantee that the individuals that typically show up are going to continue to show up in a finals. Right now, we're seeing that delivered. Both of the highlights that we talked about are currently highlighting the kill feed round after round, and we head into another one of those rounds potentially here with the fact that there's weapons in both hands. It's a little bit limited on the defensive side for Yonkos, but still decent enough.
Yeah, decent enough, but I'm also looking at now, they're already on the site. They've managed to get themselves there. They have, of course, Gecko, Wingman to plant the spike. Now it's just the post plant. Does that stop it? It does stop it. Timotino will get the trade, though, but here we have Ambot doing it as well. The bomb is down, and the attack could not be in a worse position.
Yeah, Ambot can really play a great defense here, has had time for the rest of the team to activate. Toshi gonna go down. That allows Fan B a position to select a timing. Stunny is going to be under pressure here in a moment, but actually no gun out there for Fan. Didn't expect for there to be an additional player. Rotations happening towards C, and the same true for the defense. Will it be fast enough, though? The answer is no. 2v2 retake here with the From the Shadows available and some aggression from Tomatino.
Yeah, Timo, he's been doing a great job to just try to get info and also assist. 8 assists on Sky already on attack. Beautiful job, but it's the defense who's ready to now push in. Pelt in the position that either makes or breaks a round, and it's going to make it. Getting a clean headshot down, do it again. All you have to do is find your clone. Oh, Timo.
Could have pulled out the knife, didn't do so. So ultimately, a little respect shown right there. 4-3, retaking the lead for the Grid, and that was a bit of an interesting round, right? It all kind of starts out great, falls apart when the Rolling Thunder comes through. Nobody was on the site. That is some of the risk that you take when you're using that Gecko to kind of get onto the site and get the plant. Sure, it's not very risky, but it does end up risking the possibility of the plant being denied and nobody there to stop that denial.
Definitely true. You're going to have to try to get more denial on the board, and it looks like it's already going to be starting, but for the side of attack, and that's denial. That's a trade with a big weapon deficit. So great job there from Dre. He's one he's good for, but I'm also looking forward to now defense. They can win this round if they force players off site and just stick it. We've seen that happen in this series so far, and that lockdown could win them the round.
It absolutely could. It does sort of require Naj to be ready for the post-plant scenario.
I've got your
So
trail.
if Naj goes down in engagement over this direction, then maybe that won't be the case. With that said, the dark cover going to make it a little bit easier for Naj to play further back. Guiding Light is in alongside these Seekers. Nice shot right there from Timo. And well, going to follow up. That lockdown in position, but can be denied as long as Timo stays alive. Has support, will be the denial with it destroyed. Ambot alone and Ambot down. Clean round. Pick up number 5, the Grid.
Well, the Grid, first time we've seen them on stream here, and they are showing up big. Already we see a 2.0 KD on a Cypher on attack. How often does your Sentinel top frag this aggro? I think they've used their ultimate every 2 rounds for the past few rounds here.
Fan hasn't used the ultimate?
He's used it almost every round. He just got it back.
Jeez.
He's just constantly popping it. So you said it was a weak ultimate, but these guys have wall hacks. They know it's like mini-map cheats. They know everything that they need to know to take any round. The second they get a kill, the information is free.
I mean, it being weak doesn't mean that it can't be used effectively. And yeah, Fan showing that that is the case, especially when you're as non-traditional as it is, leading the charge often for your squad. Regardless, seems like the B site is at least going to be poked and prodded at for the time being. Stunny is here, but hasn't spotted Fan on this site just yet. A little bit of an interesting timing missing this. And yeah, Stunny had no idea, had no inkling or information of that happening. And there is the neural theft that we were just talking about. I'm going to confirm the avenue for the retake of the majority of these players.
Oh, big pick. Almost got the transfer as well. Toshi needed that, but it's now a 3 against 4. Make it less because we got Timotino getting some more. That's going to be all you need. Timo, 4K on the board, and they're double the score here.
That's a very nice round from Timotino. And I mean, not only that, we talked about how difficult it can be to hold on to that B site. What made that so successful? It was the aggressive play Stunny taken out, denied information early, didn't even get a chance to shoot back, and then taking towards that B-link or A-link area, it makes it so difficult to dissuade any sort of retaking utility, because where are you going to put your utility? You don't know that there's 3 players there.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It's tough to find a perfect opportunity to use the utility that makes the gameplay easier for your team. But looking at this, Toshi and the rest of the players on site, they're just rocking some sheriffs here. So they're going to have to come up big with these smaller weapons. But the thing about a sheriff, it might be a small in the hand, but it's got some high caliber rounds. Oh.
Unfortunately, that doesn't work out so well this time. Showstopper the other way, and Tashi taking the brunt of it from Toskri. As Stunny left towards heaven, taken out, and leaves Naj all alone. Who we talked about the good work with pistols that Naj does, and he's doing it here. 3 with the sheriff. There's that high caliber action that you were looking for. Unfortunately, it's too little too late. 3 kills, something for Naj to hang their hat on.
Yeah, these guys are definitely not done yet. They are really rocking this in and locking this down. But I will say, a timeout this late into the half, I think what it really is saying is, hey, we need to win these next 2 rounds. We need to get it to 5-7, or we're not going to have a good time on the other side of the map. And I think they might be able to. I mean, defense, they have the Sky Seekers. They are 2 away from Naj having lockdown, and lockdown has been useful, just not today, because how aggressive are you seeing this attacking side?
Yeah, and it kind of works in the same way as well. Look at both of the initiators here. 11 assists for Tomatino and 8 for Beaver. That kind of goes to show how aggressive they're playing and how effective their utility is. That's why Fan B can just kind of walk in, get the kills, and have no problem whatsoever. So it's a bit of an issue. I don't know actually what the plan will be to counteract it, but I totally agree. This is trying to determine, okay, we need these next 2 rounds. How are we going to get there? What is the steps to take in order to get to that outcome? All of those questions hopefully being answered in that timeout for Yonkos. We'll have to see, though, as we head into this next round. The weapons back out after the sheriffs of the previous.
Yeah, now, I like the fact that they got a decent amount of kills thanks to Naj towards the end of that last round, so they still have yet enough to buy, and you've damaged the economy a little bit, but not too much to be noticeable. But honestly, I'm looking at what attack can do now that they have an ultimate, a thrash to just send it in, and I think Naj is actually going to get caught out here. No, it's probably Ambot.
No, 6 seconds. You turn around.
That's smart. You got to pick it back up.
It's very true. Get a second opportunity to utilize that. Wingman's going to plant the spike down, and the mosh pit's going to cover off any re-entry from that timing. This is such a great post plant potentially set up.
It's potentially good, but you're going to have to start using some util. Beautiful timing. It's 2, make it a 1v3, and that is perfect. Unfortunately for Beaver, walked into Naj's util, but they needed that round for defense. If Yonkos didn't get that, we would be seeing a completely shattered economy and a completely just scuffed first half.
Very true. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm having some trouble like breaking down what actually went down in that retake, because it was just utter chaos on the site. The amount of utility flying back and forth was crazy. And I mean, I thought that Beaver was in a good position, The rest of the team kind of evaporated around him, and unfortunately they weren't able to take advantage of what was a good positioning there. So set up now are Yonkos for that 7-5 scoreline if they can win this round, and they have 3 ultimates to do it. The lockdown has yet to be used this half, and now the Rolling Thunder at hand.
Well, let's see this now. Rolling Thunder in hand. Let's see what it can actually do. It's great for pushing people off of a site, but if it's planted on C, there's nobody on site. They're going to be playing post-plant mound. Let's see it though. Ambot gets a headshot down on a Beaver. Very unfortunate, because there goes the spike. Ambot now ready to blind and try to get some more, but Timotino is the Sky who dips you up. And there it is. All the damage, all of the trades. And they're just rushing it. They're so aggressive, it works every time.
I mean, and what other decision really was there? They were already so committed to that site. It was very much the right play to make, to be aggressive there. And as you say, it works out brilliantly there just wasn't enough for Naj or anyone else there to take that fight. One player gets blinded and they have to fall back, and there's nowhere to fall back to. 8-4, a great attacking half here for the Grid. The Canadians doing the work and finding themselves in a very favorable situation to potentially close this first map of the grand finals if they can maybe get a solid start with a pistol round, for example.
Yeah, I mean, a pistol round is the momentum that you want. I think that what we just saw here from the Grid was a very aggressive team composition being very aggressive. So that works. How does that translate now that they're on defense? Obviously, their Cypher can solo a site. So let Cypher take C, have a full stack. But are they going B? If they do that, yeah, they'll get the bomb plant, but it is hard to hold it.
I did mention one of my exceptions is the pistol round. This site is relatively strong to hit on the pistol because you can take so much space, and that's what they're doing, taking all the space. In fact, the spike is headed back towards C through Link. This is ridiculous. They've pushed Waterfall, and Tashi will get the 1-for-1 trade. Fan taking down the leading fragger for the defense, now dissuaded. And look at how aggressive Tashi is.
Oh, and the aggression is unfortunately going to get punished here. Now Pelt looking to see if he can pelt some damage into one with just the classic in hand. Oh, good attempt. What a right click. Free gun, by the way, as we're seeing a triple kill from Naj.
There it is.
This time with the Ghost. I mean, he's online. It's a pistol round.
Last player standing.
Oh, but Pelt!
Oh my.
How does he do that?
He's offline. Never mind. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, well, taken offline via Pelt, as that was incredible. The HP as well was, I mean, sure, not high for either player for the opposition, but Pelt, he didn't have a lot of health either. It just hit both the shots in swift succession. Naj is going to be feeling very hard done by after that round. Surely thought he had done enough. With a 3K, simply not enough, it would seem. And we're going to continue to see this. The Grid putting a pretty significant notice up for Yonkos. Remember, this is their map pick to start things out on Lotus, and right now they are minus both pistol rounds and minus 5 rounds in the deficit.
Yeah, down 5 rounds, not where you want to be, but unfortunately, it's not about where you are, it's about where you're heading. Let's see if they can stop this momentum. Pelt, though, off of that pistol round, getting a double kill, but drops a Spectre for one player. Stunny is going to fall, and it's up to the Spectre in the hands of the Sky that they've picked up to do some damage, and it can't even attempt it. Now, Toskri and the rest of their team are chasing. Look at how mean they are. What is this?
Yeah, just absolutely no chill right there from the defense. They were holding W the entire time, and I love it. I love a team that forces their opposition to make them respect them, right? If I don't need to respect you as the opponent, right, I'm going to win all the engagements if you can't force me to respect you. And that's right now what we're seeing. The Grid, they're setting the tone, setting the pace, and they're dominating it.
Yeah, they're setting this pace here, and double digits on the board already. I mean, this feels like the start of yesterday, to be honest with you, even though it isn't as much of a foot stomp. More so is it just clean, really. But Timotino blinds one. There's the pick. There's the aggression, the combo nation. But no, no! The transfer was so close.
He thought he had it. Had to have thought he had that kill.
I mean, 1 HP Pelt, 1v3. He did it last time. I think he might be able to do it again.
1 HP is a tough one.
Spike planted.
Might just want to get out with this weapon and hopefully go into the next round with a little bit of extra cash. This will kind of add on to the economy that's already doing very well for the Grid. No reason to toss it away, but it could also do some damage if they go for some aggression, and that might also be the plan, it would seem. Pelt poking their nose into this.
1 HP in a dream. I mean, it's a bonus round. The only thing that can shut him down is a poorly placed swing, but that's what's going to happen. Naj, clean one tap from Mound. It's why attack side, you plant for C, you get on Mound. It almost guarantees it if they have no control agent left. And since both teams only have one, it's going to be tough. If you lose Pelt and it's a C plant, there's a very high chance you lose that round.
Here's the chance to bring this back, to close the distance. for Yonkos. On the preferable side now. Not the greatest of starts, but they win the bonus. They're up against the bonus. And now in the first full weapon round, they're set up to potentially find success. Only one orb away from a lockdown, and they're going to get that. So keep your eyes peeled for that engagement. Timotino, that's a lot of space that's been given over for free here at C.
Yeah, lots of space. I like the aggression that the defense have done. Now they know that they can get a decent flank going on here, and that should be worth it.
They can also set up 3 defenders here at A, which they've done.
Oh no, it's another aftershock kill, this time on the top frag.
And this time, that was a clear mistake from Van, just trying to get cheeky, getting a free kill, stuck around too long. Pelts there to equalize here, 4-on-4, a retake, but Tashi sticking around.
Good flank. Oh, Tashi. Do it again.
He will.
He did it again. Wow.
US delivery right there. A 6th round on the board, and now a 2nd in a row. That's certainly going to stop the onslaught that was basically the entirety of the grid that whole first half. And I'll be honest there, Fan B maybe just getting a little bit too ambitious with that play.
Just a bit. Just a little bit. But honestly, the problem with being in that spot is Aftershock completely counters it and you can't leave. So yeah, I think what he was doing was he was trying to get a kill before he died. Being in that spot, no matter what, if an Aftershock is there, he's dead. So I'm not going to claim that it's, you know, a bad play. It's just bad positioning, and trying to make the most of it is what we saw them do. So, you know, I can't really mark them down too many points here.
Well, in a situation where we haven't seen all that many errors in judgment, it certainly is a unfortunate one. It's going to be the first to fall into this round as well. And the fall back for Pelt, trying to get away. Will do so, but at a hefty cost.
Yeah, not being able to get stunned over the price of having a TP, I think it might be worth it, because, you know, if that had stunned him, if he had been getting rushed, think of it from his perspective. The second he gets stunned, if there is a team following that dog, you're dead. So 100 creds for the cost of surviving.
Fire in the hole!
Showstopper.
Oh, that's going to get... I feel like this is going to get multiple people.
Or no people. Timotino just activates at the right time. And falls. Oh my goodness, Toscree delivering a third. Now the showstopper the other way. Doesn't try to get the close range individual there. Stunny needs to clutch. He's got 2 already. Quick adjustment. Spike planted. Pelt not potentially prepared for this position. Will he check it?
He will. I mean, picking up the stinger, he got the animation of pulling it out. Very unfortunate there. But so far, an amazing clutch by Stunny. Obviously, Toscree is the person we want to shout out with that one. I mean, a beautiful attempt, popping the ultimate. Unfortunately, not able to finish off the round, causing a ultimate clutch here for the side of attack. Now, looking at Yonkos, looking at how this team has been able to battle it out so far, they have a decent chance at getting us into a comeback and maybe even potentially swiping this round from underneath.
Yeah, this was kind of one of the turning point rounds. Not quite there, but it's on the way in that direction. A round victory here would certainly stamp a ticket on the comeback trail. There's a ton of ultimates, both defensively and offensively. Yonkos is certainly a lot to work with, but the defense aren't exactly poor either.
Ooh, Ambot. Pretty unique position to try to get the first blood. But look at that. Counter to just get the site guaranteed. Using this very early on. You know, you're not going to get any follow-up with that ultimate, but you are going to get the bomb planted. Now, to counter it, we have the secrets popping. Tashi gets traded out for Toscree. But let's see what Fan can do. Swinging. Not missing. Grabbing that, and now attack KJ, though. This ultimate should be able to stop them, but if they stick this plant, they could win it out.
One enemy remains.
Oh my goodness, great adjustment from Fan. The defuse is continuing. Ain't nothing that can be done from Naj, though. I mean, he'll get 1 kill round is won, so it doesn't matter an 11th. And when we're talking about such slim margins, just giving up a round or two like that can end up really hurting you at the end of the day. Nonetheless, great utility usage, I thought, from the defense on the retake. I felt like the grid, they had everyone blind or being blinded, everyone falling back. No one could be consistent in their positioning in the post plant. They were all uncomfortable, and they couldn't find any way to set up a crossfire because they were so uncomfortable from the very start.
Incredibly uncomfy, but let's see what else can happen with the big swing. Attack now wanting to try to fight off against Fan BF, and that's going to be a huge stun. But no real follow-up thanks to the Gecko. Beaver been really helping out his team here. Unfortunately, Fan takes the aggression and falls. Beaver falls on site as well. This is what Attack needs, with Timotino tries to just level it out, and it's a 4v3 with an incredibly low sky for Attack side.
Spike planted.
Yeah, certainly not unwinnable. Gonna get the Trailblazer out, gathering some information and trying to work off the back of that. But honestly, they know more about where people aren't than where they are.
Last player standing.
Well,
Ace.
nice attempt, but it was essentially null and void from the very start. Talking of the comfortability of the attack and setting up crossfires in post plant, well, where they had no comfortability last round, they were infinitely more so this round.
Yeah, they are very comfortable. Taking that round clean as ever. Now, I will also point out here, Vincent, ultimates that have not been used very often. It's got to be from the shadows, but I think we all know why it's not being used. I would argue the From the Shadows is the weakest ultimate in the game, not only for, you know, the potential, like the current ability that it has to just go across the map at any time, anywhere. That's not that great compared to any other ulti.
Yeah, I mean, just the way that it's implemented, I think it could be very powerful, but right now you kind of give that information to everybody, and you can't do too much with it because everyone's on the lookout. A pretty one-dimensional approach right now for the attack side. We've got a pretty much 5-man walk, just looking for players to fight. And well, they've currently found nobody, but there's a lot of aggression towards the A site for the defense. They know that nobody's there. They know that nobody's B. So this is really just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time here, but Dre is going to be able to break the timing and take out Timotino. Bye-bye to the sky, as we are now looking at attacks, setting up for a C mound post plant. This is going to be very hard to retake, especially with the weapons that they are bringing to the table here. And with 11 HP, Toshi still manages to get the pick. Good luck, Fan. You have been the top frag. 27 kills. Can you get to 28 or more? No, you cannot.
There's Toshi delivering on the promises that we were talking about at the outset. Really stepping up for the team on an anti-eco shore. But that's a couple of kills to confirm a showstopper in the back pocket for this round. And I think it's about time to mention that while Beaver has had some high-impact moments with regard to the utility, I think Beaver needs to get a few more kills right now.
Truly. I do think that is very fair to ask of Beaver. Yes, you've been helping out a ton, but if it's about getting assists, you're getting beat by Timo, who also is getting kills. You know, you can do both. It's not a one-stop shop here. But Beaver, yeah, 1 in 14, has been getting the bomb plants, has been getting the bomb diffuses, has been able to get on the bomb as best as possible. So when it comes to an objective play style, Beaver's there. But we need to see some more fundamentals from them. We need to see that aim. We got to see that they know how to just hit a shot and take these players out. And I've seen Beaver play and get 30 kills in a 10-round game. I mean, it's pretty crazy what this guy can do if he's not so focused on objectives.
Well, time to see if that can activate. Wingman sent out, doesn't really find too much other than a few bullets to face the aftershock. There for the offense, just trying to gather further information, but adjustment being had. Yonkos headed back over towards B. Now, we talked about this B site. We'll see how they approach it. Stunny is going to make the first engagement, or rather put the setup in place for it. Guiding light sent through. No plant just yet. Timotino activates, and Fan B has got another frag as well. That long angle is so difficult to deal with from the attack perspective.
Yeah, I mean, these attackers are now finding that they're walking into a little bit of a blender, but Beaver commits to sticking it.
One enemy
Will
remaining.
now watch as these players fall regardless. Beaver getting an assist. Another one, but still 1 of 15.
Match point.
But it doesn't matter. We're being hard on Beaver right now, Vincent, but their team is up 3 rounds, regardless of how little kills he's actually getting.
Well, and that's why I only mentioned it last round. Because when you're up like, 10-3 or whatever at one point, then it doesn't matter. Now, though, it starts to get a little closer, and fortunately, map point activated right there for the grid. They have it in their possession, but it's still not a guarantee. It's still a relatively close game. This comeback at the moment for Yonkos has been pretty strong.
Yeah, this comeback is quite nice, but with match point on the horizon here and with the game potentially ending and us moving on to the next map of Fracture, I'm still concerned. I mean, next map is going to be Yonkos map pick, I believe.
No, this is Yonkos.
Oh my god.
Yeah, thus my worry. It's a little bit spooky. This is what I was talking about how this is a map both of these teams play. That said, we can talk about that afterward, because right now, the entirety of Yonkos, they're over on A, and there really hasn't been any defense set up. The spike, in fact, was being planted. Now it is. They're going to get it down. It's a 5-on-4, though.
Ooh, big ultimate here. Will connect to almost all of the defenders, but of course they don't follow up with it. So yeah, that ultimate, congrats. It bought you 3 seconds of post-plant time. But let's see what they can do now. Stunny here with it. Goes down to Beaver. Beaver gets a double. Here's what we're saying, and starts getting some actual frags. Naj now falls, and it's up to the sky. Bye-bye. That is the round and the first game of this best of 5, Vincent.
That it is. Real quick note on that last round, though, before we get finished talking about it and we talk about the map overall. That Rolling Thunder, though, what it does do, you don't necessarily have to follow that up, because it denies the 3 ultimates, essentially the Seekers, the Neural Theft, and I forget what else was used there. It denies all the information that was being gained by those ultimates for the defense. They used all those, and then they had to wait another 3 seconds because they all got hit with a Rolling Thunder. So a bit of a good position not to follow up on that Rolling Thunder, I think, regardless. So didn't work out in the end. Beaver with some nice shots, and I think that kind of puts the tail into that discussion, right? It's perfectly fine to be in that position that Beaver was, where you're just kind of doing the supportive roles as long as you're winning, and they won.
Absolutely. Beaver definitely won. I mean, average combat score of 97. He still got the count to win the round. All right, if this was a ranked game, he still walks away with positive RR. But what I will say is we're moving on to Fracture next, and Fracture is a map that you are going to be seeing not the same team composition. I am not expecting Beaver on Gecko on that map at all. I would expect him on either KO. Beaver is a great KO player, or maybe even a Sova. Or even a Fade. Fade's also great on that map. But with that being said, we just have to wait and see what we're going to be seeing from these teams in just a little bit. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
The Imperium Elite Series Grand Finals continues here. Our best of 5, just one map in as we head to our second. It's the grid with a upset on the Yonkos pick for map number 1. We head to the grid's pick of Fracture up next. And I think the question on everyone's mind here is this the start of the grid running this all 3 maps in a row?
You know, it definitely could be. The fact is, we're on their map pick now. We're in their home court. Obviously, the first map pick that a team locks in usually is the one that they have the most faith in my opinion. You know, you don't really want to start off with a losing map, if you know what I mean. So locking in that Lotus map, it was very much a showcase of this is where we're confident. And that confidence, I think, is shattered right now. So they're going to have to do something different if they want to figure out what's going on. And it looks like what is going to happen is a near mirrored team composition. The only difference, instead of a Sova, potentially a Fade.
So I have a question. Have you heard the terminology, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger?
It works for everything except for things that actually kill you.
That's very true. With that said, I very much believe that right now for the grid, because they played a barn burner 17-15 overtime game for the win in the semifinals up against Rose on this map of Fracture. And it kind of feels to me like that's a whole lot of rounds of practice that they just got in right yesterday in a grueling game, in a grueling series. That gives me some confidence for what we saw there. The other thing that gives me confidence is Van B. This guy just dominated the last map. I mean, we're talking 30 frags. Really impressive. 20 of those in the first half even.
Yeah, honestly, what we saw from them was beautiful. And that was when they were on a Sentinel. This time they're handing Sentinel reins over to Pelt. And we are going to see what happens here, as I believe we're looking for a tech pause. But with that being the normal moment here, I gotta point out, Fan B this time on a Duelist is pretty scary. I see Toascree on Duelist most of the time, so having Fan B after that insane game locking in an agent that is made to get kills in the hands of Raze, I think that is going to be the slight change that makes this game even less close than what we just saw.
I also want to draw our attention to what I think is going to be an interesting duo here, and that's Dre and Timatino. The battle for the breach supremacy is going to be very real in this game, is my guess, because breach on this map is just so incredibly important, both attack side and defense. It doesn't matter where you're at. The better breach will most likely be on the team that wins. That's my maybe not so hot take. That's actually probably a very cold take. But point is, watch out for the breaches.
Good point. Watch out for the breach. Don't lose. And of course, what I also want to point out is the difference between Fade and Sova. I think Fade on this map has a little bit of a stronger standing, at least when it comes to being aggressive. And also, Sova, one of the main reasons you pick him on this map is so you have an additional tool to knock out a Killjoy's ultimate, because that's almost a guarantee. However, Attack doesn't have a KJ. They got a Cypher.
Yeah, it's a little interesting, to be entirely honest with you. That being said, I don't think that's that crazy. I feel like Cypher is in a good spot right now in that it's relatively effective. You can do a lot with the Cypher utility, as you've always been able to, and with the slight buff to the ultimate that we had a few months back, or it's probably more than a few months at this point, relatively recent buff. With that, I think it's become not a useless ultimate, right? Mm-hmm. You get a little bit more of that information, and it's more reasonable to go with something like the like having that camera every round when you miss out on the lockdown.
True, that is fair. I mean, you know, having the camera gives you a lot more information than a lot of other Sentinels do. Cypher is the information Sentinel. He's what you pick if you don't have a Sky, in my opinion, because Sky, great for info. You know, Sova, great for info. So if you don't have a Sova or Sky, you're going to need a Sentinel that can kind of pick up that pace. So pretty exciting to see what they are going to be doing with this Cypher, as we just watched the Cypher on the other side get, 33 kills? So, you know, pretty impressive stuff.
There was a couple of kills. Let me just check real fast. We can give you the confirmation. Yeah, it was 30.
Okay, 30.
We were gaming.
Just gaming a bit.
Yeah, doing the gaming, and it was very effective, to be entirely honest. So, couple more minutes is what is required, it would seem, for us to get things started in this game. We've just had a restart or two, so we should be getting moving here shortly. But regardless, I don't know if you have a strong feeling. I actually think that I sort of prefer having a Cypher over the Killjoy, just sort of a
Really?
little bit
On this map?
See, that's the thing. Like, I totally understand the reasoning for having a Killjoy. I just think the lockdown is really bad here.
It's the point of the pick, in my opinion. You know, when I see a...
Or I should say, it's
KJ.
really counterable here.
It is counterable, true. It's very readable, fair. But right now, what do the attack have to counter it? A single ultimate in Brimstone's orbital strike. That's it.
No, Aftershock.
Aftershock can't
Paint
break
shells?
it anymore. Aftershock can't break it.
Oh, that's right.
Paint shells, you'd have to, especially if you're planning it under B. You can't.
Yeah, you
you
couldn't do it on B, but you can at A.
Yeah, but like, they have one thing that can effectively guarantee it.
That's fair. But I also think the Sova's better here too. So I'm a crazy man.
Unique, for sure.
Yeah, I have, like I said, hot takes. We are underway though. Gonna get things started out and onto the A sites from Dish. Is what the plan is. And nobody actually on the site. Nobody in main either, which is a little surprising for this defense, but nonetheless, the grid will look to retake with 5 alive.
Okay. I mean, retaking it, and now this is going to be a pretty interesting way to see how these teams actually play out the agents we've been talking so long about. Here we go. Fan already off the bat, going to get the first blood, but trades out Toshi with the triple.
One enemy remaining.
And now it's up to the KJ. There's one, but it's over. Attack really just leading in. I mean, defense gave them the site and wanted to go for retake, and it just didn't work.
Thought she would have had an ace there, by the way. Thought he got the kill because he hit the heady, but the head armor. She was bad. Could have been a third ace in 2 days. I would have been impressed, but unfortunately, we've missed that mark. So round number 1, attack side, taking the victory with Yonkos doing the good damage. Tashi with 3 out of those kills, and we've got a less than ideal purchase right now. A few sheriffs, but not all of that many. And this should be a relatively easy round in the grand scheme of things for Yonkos.
It might be pretty easy, but here's the thing about this team. You never know until it starts. There's the first blood. Timo takes out Ambot, but it's about Beaver, who needs to now really pick up the paces. You're not on Gecko this time. Sova is not an agent that you can excuse not getting a lot of frags on.
Well, I mean, maybe a lot is a little ambitious, but yeah, certainly not going to be as okay if you're getting just 1 or 2. Beaver though, unfortunate timing there on that smoke fading. Tashi ready and waiting. 2 remaining members for the defense.
Spike planted.
Ooh, lots of spam shots. I mean, they're doing okay. They've managed to get 1 damage off and do a decent amount, but want to see what they can do now moving forward. Naj, great positioning here. Drops in, gets the frag, gets nothing else. I really thought he was going to grab that.
Yeah, I did too. Nice attempt though. A few kills. That's about what you would expect on a second round buy with a few sheriffs invested. So here we go. Bonus round of sorts right now. A couple of pistols going to grace the hands of Naj Dre, and Stunny will actually grab a SMG instead. On the other side, the full weaponry, the full complement of guns and rifles. We've not really seen the op, by the way, either for anybody yet. That's something I'm curious to see as well, if that starts to become a bigger issue in this map specifically. Lotus, I feel like you can go without. Here, it's a pretty big deal in my book.
Yeah, op is definitely one of the tools that can make or break this entire map here, especially considering the A point, or the B point anyways. But Toshi grabbing the first blood down, grabs Pelt. Now let's see what else they could do. Lots of damage taken so far through the smoke over by Jen. And again, it's another retake.
Planted.
This time they have weapon advantage, but what does that mean if you can't actually get any picks because of how locked down these players have made it? Oh, Naj is so smart for that.
Yeah, and popping up that neural cage as well at the right timing. Oh, gonna connect as well onto Tomatino. This is so free right now for Yonkos. Tonskri alone. And Tashi there to shut it down. This is a 8-0 start for Tashi. Similar performance in the first few rounds of that last map. The difference is that Fan had like 12 kills at the same juncture.
Yeah, a little bit of a big difference in my opinion. Right now we're seeing now a bonus round one because Tashi's 0 and 8 and 8 and 0. Sorry, order matters for that, but ultimate ready as well should pop at this round just so you can start building it up again with how great you've been playing. In my opinion, I think you should use your ultimates as fast as you get them, with reason of course, to make sure that you can build up as many as possible.
Particularly something like the Showstopper, I agree. Right? That's such an offensive-minded ultimate where you can reasonably use it in any situation and have impact out of it. That's a nice read. Beaver able to get a scan onto 3 members. There's that potential. The Showstopper no more. Naj doing some nice baiting. Don't know where that headshot went, but Pellets will eventually get back there and recover the rifle as well. This is a very solid start to a round that, I mean, there isn't a ton of weaponry here for Yonkos.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot they can really do, but nice shot there. And now it's a 2v2.
Last player standing.
Make it a 2v1. Make it a 2v none. Clean retake. And surprised they didn't use the ultimate. And now Fan has their ultimate as well. So we could see a raise off here.
And I guess Fan took it personally that I mentioned he didn't have an outrageous amount of kills by round 4. Listen, I wasn't saying that you were bad. I was just pointing it out. Tashi playing well. No, can't be allowed to happen. Fan B steps up with a 3K. And as you mentioned, the Showstopper ready to go, ready to roll. So don't get the bonus round, or don't win against the bonus round, but do win the following round with the lesser weaponry. Now into another gun round. Pretty much everything to work with. There's that lockdown that you were talking about that we were discussing earlier on. Can be utilized in a more defensive manner, potentially in a post plant.
Well, let's see if they are going to be able to use it in that post plant. Or maybe in a pre-plant. Honestly, it's a great way to try to get people off the site before they even have a chance to plant it. But let's see what they can do now. Fan, I like this angle from them. As long as it's not checked. I mean, this is a 50-50, in my opinion, whether it gets checked or not. So, let's see what's going on now. Oh, big ultimate. That's going to help out a lot. Dre now falls to that. Naj is guarding his flank beautifully, but Fan wants to be aggro. And that timing's perfect. Oh, no way. Did they just get pop and swung?
The lowest of sensitivity coming back to fight him there, but Tomatino there ready to deliver on behalf of the grid. It will be a 2v1 favoring the grid. 4 HP is the biggest issue for Ambot on this potential clutch. Does have the Nightfall, so there is that to work with, but I don't know if this is the time to use it.
In a 1v2, I mean, 4 HP, it's a lot of investment when you're up rounds. I don't think you should use it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's just like, where's the value getting traded off, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you win, that's the value, but it's just such a tough thing to win with 4 health. That's the differentiating factor for me. Gonna hang on to that. The combination between that Rolling Thunder and the Nightfall is obviously very good. There's, in addition to giving that Showstopper something to very clearly shoot at as well. Lots of options with the three ultimates that the grid currently have at their, or Yonkos rather, have at their disposal.
Yeah, and now looking at the disposal of these guns, who is currently more broke, Toskri or Dre? Looks like we're gonna have to find out with them now running it down, and Dre is the one to fall. Toshi getting a trade, but that is a counter ultimate for the Rolling Thunder. You have one, but it's not doing too much. Yeah, it has decay and no ears, but no aim, no game. good luck, Naj. You're going to have to prove that Cypher is better than 3.
On Totscree. That's a great jump spot. Just barely exposing themselves to be shot in the head there, but still has tons of information gathered. Love that play as well. The aggression set up by the Grid in this round was just so perfect. They didn't initially use that Rolling Thunder, didn't key the defense or the offense into the fact that there was so many players fighting that, but they had a ton of utility layer upon layer of it applied so that not only one player, but anybody playing anti-flash or anything like that was still going to get stunned or blinded.
I mean, played it smart, played it quick, and we're seeing again, the Grid loves being aggro like that, and it works.
Oh, the timing!
Oh my god, no way. No way.
30 seconds left.
Poor Belt.
Cage trigger.
Oh. Naj. Used his ultimate for this. And it didn't quite work out very well.
Yeah, that one I think probably well worth the potential win.
You're not being shot at, you're doing
Right.
something wrong.
You get, like I said, the value on that not nearly as high as the Nightfall, for example. Unfortunately, though, both it and the Nightfall didn't really have all that much effectiveness in that round, despite being used. And it is going to leave still 3 ultimates, but 3 different ones on the board for this next round for Yonkos. They've unfortunately gotten to a point where their money is on the cusp of being broken, but not quite so. So this is the round where they really need to turn the tide after 3 losses in a row.
Yeah, it will be tough to try to turn that around, but if a team can do it, it's this team. Here we go with those big trades, 1 for 1, and an orbital strike comes through the sky here to try to really start sealing this out. But it doesn't actually get anybody. Unfortunately, for the side of defense, looking okay. In attack, they needed that to actually start landing.
And the Aftershock did a great job of separating the potential aggression that could be put forward by the Grid on the defense there from the rest of that fight. Made sure that orbital strike wasn't so effective. Now 4-on-4. Lockdown still available defensively, but it looks like the A site will be under fire in just a moment.
There we go. They're planning for the stun. They're trying to hit this down. Bomb getting planted in a very open spot. Can get wallbang, but instead does not. See what they can do with the post plant ultimate from the orbital strike for the side. But this is it. The counter ultimate is coming through. But as they are ulting, they're also dropping. Big picks though for the trade. Sunny almost getting wallbanged again. Oh, Nosh is in a great position here, but unfortunately it fails. It falls, and they don't have the orbital strike for post plant. It's all about the shots, and they can't hit them.
No, Naj actually DC just after that. I think Naj wasn't actually connected to the server at that time when that smoke faded. That is unfortunate.
Shut up and let me work.
Did not know that. That's
Ace.
a little unfortunate there.
Yeah,
but
I assume we're gonna get a tech. Yeah,
we're
gonna get a tech. So a lost round that I think ultimately you don't know how it's gonna go, but the Grid able to take advantage of the fact that there was a bit of a disconnect there from Naj, and there's nothing that can be done about it. That said, I wonder how that's going to affect Yonkos. They've got to be feeling a little bit frustrated, I would imagine, because of that.
Yeah, having someone disconnect, it's definitely a real mood killer and momentum killer, because not only do you, one, lose a round for what is arguably not the cashest of money ways, but you also, aren't able to talk to the person. Maybe their internet went out. There's a chance that they don't have the ability to actually talk to them about what they can do better right now. So they're right now trying to formulate a plan without someone. That's also a risk.
Yeah, I mean, and it also just, I'm sure you've been in this situation, right? It's like if you're in a team environment and something's going wrong on the tech side for your teammate, like all the things that are running through your mind right there are like, okay, like, is it going to be okay? Like what's going to happen? Are they going to continue having some sort of issue like this? It all kind of runs through your head, and it's really disruptive. So I used to not put as much stock in that kind of thing happening, but the more I've played in a competitive team environment, the more I feel like it's unfortunately really disruptive.
Absolutely. I also know that whenever something like this happens, you know, your credibility as a player goes down if you're not able to connect to a place. And you know, if you can
hold on.
no you honestly, if you can't connect, if you're having internet issues, how, like, you know, trusting your teammate goes down. Even if it's not a huge like decrease, it does impact how much you actually trust a player. If I see in like a lobby of mine, or if I'm 5 stacking and someone disconnects multiple times, I'm concerned.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna leave you on this one. You're on an island, bud. I just don't, because like for me, it's entirely different when you're practicing with a team. You know, like you've played with a player all the time for, you know, every night, most weeks. Totally different than a random 5 stack or a pug or whatever. In my book, regardless, not that big a deal. Naj is just reconnected, so we shouldn't be too awful long for this pause. Thankfully enough. And hopefully it doesn't come to fruition. And once again, speaking of the destructive nature of some of those situations, it also, the individual that DCs, it just entirely disrupts their flow of the game as well. So I'm sure that Naj will be able to recover, but just something to think about.
Oh yeah. Obviously now with that player reconnecting, once these guys are ready on both sides, we can get back into this game. But this being the grid's pick, Yonkos has been doing a decent job on it. Honestly, the first 3-round lead, winning bonus round against someone's map pick is a big come up. But unfortunately, now they're realizing that it's the grid's map pick, and the grid wants to show off with a 4-round in a row win. That says a lot about how these guys like to play this out.
I also do want to add on to that whilst I agree it's impressive, we've just seen the grid pick up 4 rounds in a row, and this is the defensive side. I actually don't know what sided this is, but when a team plays on Fracture, their attack tends to be significantly better for some reason. Whenever they have that experience, I feel like they are just a little bit better. They have a better fundamental understanding of the timings that can often catch defenses off guard.
Yeah, I mean, defense is definitely going to be something unique for us. But one thing I will also say, if you are on attack on this team composition, you're going to be happier. When the sides switch for the side here of the grid, I think attacking Killjoy is stronger than defense Killjoy. Defense Cypher is stronger than attacking Cypher. I think that what will happen is you're going to have to see a balance between Naj and Pelt go back and forth.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm with that. I'm on the same page. I think this next round, though, just to kind of bring it back to things as we've gotten in our two in the chat, and freeze time has just started back. Talking to this round specifically, what are we looking for? Well, I want to see that showstopper get utilized. I know it's not a full gun round here for Yonkos, but I'd like to see that be thrown in there. And, you know, Rolling Thunder wouldn't be a bad decision either if they're already getting towards the site.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that terrible, but see this now. I like this push up here, trying to grab the orbs, maybe going for some early ult charge. I mean, picking it up just because you have to before the bomb gets planted. It's smart, but here we go. Toshi being aggro with an ultimate here. Punished.
Wow.
What a headshot.
Blinding.
Headed. Tomatino. Applying some pressure. Aftershock onto site. Swinging wide. Sunny. Nice connection. Dre will fall. It's going to be the Molotov in position fan. Actually stunned up. 2 remaining members here. Very winnable right now for Naj. In position. 50 HP, though, isn't a whole bunch to work with, and that will ultimately be his downfall.
Shut up and let me work.
Wow.
That was impressive from Breach.
Yeah, I mean, I guess didn't like your casting there.
Yeah, my bad, Breach. Sorry, dude.
Yeah. Well, Breach here, he's got no arms, so he's already got a vendetta against life. But let's see what else we can have happen with this round now moving forward, as that was previously a eco round. It was a thrifty. It was where you're going to be seeing some things get a little bit different compared to now this one, which one round or one ultimate orb away for Naj to have information. And Fracture info really does matter because you can get flanked from every angle, no matter which side you're on, because of how circular this map is. So I think Cypher's ultimate really benefits this map specifically.
It's a good point, actually. Hadn't been thinking about that. Nice connection there from Ambot to start things out. Double, in fact. Fan B hoping to stop the bleeding. It'll be a rolling thunder for both sides, trying to apply pressure. Timatino doing a great job of getting out of there, and Fan continuing to make this a even better round for the defense of the Grid.
Wow. The Grid definitely happy about that. Teemo being able to use their ultimate, gets hit by a counter ultimate, but they still manage to get the kill off. That's important. But let's tell you how important it is if they're rotating to A. This is a misread in my opinion.
Exactly where you
And I think this Cypher, they know that it's a clear sight. And look at how fast they started moving the second they got the info. Information is king in a game like Valorant, and Cypher is really showing as to why. But here's Naj.
Flash out.
Let's see how smart he can be. There's one.
player
The
standing.
trades come out. Naj now falls. And it's just going to be up to Dre, who didn't bother planning the bomb before even pushing this.
I think Naj might have disconnected again.
Spike planted.
I
Lots.
did see that, yeah.
Yeah, lots of damage. The paint shell forcing Dre wide. Somehow he's still alive.
One enemy remaining.
Gonna make it a 1v1. This is now a little bit scary. Fan with a nice connection. Doesn't need the ultimate. Will win it out. It got a bit spooky there towards the end. But yeah, I'm a little concerned. I haven't seen Naj DC, but it looked like he stopped there in the middle of that spray.
Yeah, I think he did a DC, but had a ping spike because he's back in the game here. If you take a look at their ping, it's kind of all over the place and has been for a while. So it's not ideal, as we all know. But these guys are still managing to play pretty well, even with Naj's back and forth DCs. But they managed to, get the bomb down a lot. Look at how many rounds have been defusals instead of players getting killed.
So
they are on the site.
So part of that, though, is the fact that this defense right now is playing in such a way where they're just gambling towards sites, playing the man advantage. If they have 3 players like they did there, they're playing together. Showstopper out. Fan doesn't hit the shot, nor the showstopper, actually. Full control, though, towards the main position here at A, as Timatino elects to fall back.
All right, well, they did like to fall back, but let's see if they can fall right into the crosshair of the defense, who's seemingly just beating them down round after round, with this currently being a 6th round in a row streak for them. And Teemo, good timing, a little bit off on the aim, does hit Dre for a slight amount. The bomb will get planted in the safe spot here, but playing post plant in this position is very hard with the molly like that, cooking Naj
enemy remaining.
and cooking Dre. Oh my god, do it again. Can you find the 3rd Toaskery?
One enemy remaining.
Fantastic utility, stunning. It's a couple of blinders. The headshots continue, but Pelt delivers the final hurdle overcome. A 7th round and now victory in hand for the Grid after losing the opening 3 rounds. Excuse me. They've won 7 in a row, and as we were talking about, right, the amount of diffuses, sure. I think that really goes to show the play style that Grid is looking to go for. They aren't committed to these sites. They aren't committing to fights whenever they're not having a man advantage, right? They don't have 2 or 3 players aggressive on a site. They're doing what they're doing right here, right, in this round. Look at how there's 4 players ready to play aggressive towards Arcade, and that's something they've done before. They're going to do it again.
Absolutely. Now let's see if they can do it now, running it down again. Defense so aggressive towards Zip, just making sure that bridge is not a safe space for these guys. Because if you do have control of bridge, it's a very fast way to rotate from B to A with very little resistance. So let's see this now. Fan backing up. And this is a very unique plant spot. I mean, as long as it doesn't get punished. Teemo, though, punishing Toshi and Sunny. Punish Naj as well. You know you got it in you, Teemo.
Way to get out of there.
One
Pressure
enemy
being
remaining.
applied from Fan on the other side. Naj alone. Nice shot with the Sheriff, but up against 3 players. Has to try and push through that smoke to deny the potential spike defusal. And good recovery, or maybe recovery is the wrong word. Good response there from Yonkos. realizing immediately the play that was coming forward on from Arcade. They saw that in the previous rounds, and so they knew how to adjust and get right onto A for essentially a free plant.
Yeah, I mean, smart with it to plant the bomb, but I think we know that planting the bomb doesn't equal a 1 round, considering how many times the retake is what won these games. 8 in a row now, and there are 6 that have been retake and defusals. So
yep.
These guys know what they're doing when it comes to defense. Take the site, by all means. We're just going to become the attackers, and we love being aggressive.
Exactly, and it works beautifully. It also allows for them to have these aggressive plays, and if there were, for example, some players here at B, they could just take this fight immediately and have an easy advantage. It won't be the case, though. Fast towards the retake, fast on the flank as well. Toshi would have been under pressure had Fan not gone down. Stunny and Ambot both activate, and this has been the first time that the whole retake idea hasn't worked out.
Yeah, it has not worked out, but Attack, they won one towards the end there. They stopped it. So, hey, that's something new. Maybe with this, they can actually keep up their momentum now that they're switching over to the defense of their own right, and we saw how powerful defense can be on the retake. But we also know, I think Yonkos is a very good pistol round team. They never really lose pistol round. It's been very few and far between. The last time I saw them lose it was when Pelt got an insane clutch.
Yeah, it's been a consistent factor, but it's also been a lot to do with Naj, who, you know, has had some difficulties here with regard to connection. So hopefully that doesn't come into the fray this time. Setup would suggest more B-centric approach, but FNB is going to take towards Dish for the time being.
Cage trigger.
Ooh, big nade. It's not going to really connect for too much damage. Naj, this is the pistol round demon, and he's the first to go down. Dre, though, really picking it up. There's Timo getting the trade. Dre falls as well, and now it's a 4v2, and the retake is near impossible unless we can see some insane shots from Toshi.
Going to be required. Damage done, even while blinded. That's ridiculous. Toski and Fan will find the last 2 frags. 4 alive as well, and a 9-4 scoreline. Yeah, sure, great stuff from Yonkos to pick up at least 1 more round towards the end of that first half, but immediately we're back to the status quo when we approach the second.
Yeah, we're back here again with pistol round lost by Yonkos. A little bit upsetting for me. Personally, I was hoping that Naj would really lean into what they do on pistols the most, but being in that position on Cypher, stuck behind a nade and a bad place, they got a little punished from it. But now these attackers are ready to keep this going, hopefully. What are they doing? They're all the way on the defense, stacked B this round.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was a bad idea. Unfortunately, you take a gamble. Sometimes, you know, crazy concept. Gamble doesn't pay off all the time. That's why it's a gamble. Over towards the retake. The attempt already starting to go through, but already starting to fail with the limited weaponry at hand for Yonkos this round. We've got 3 remaining members, and though they'll get 1 traded out, it's ultimately just that single frag that will give them anything into this round. Yonkos on a bit of a struggle right now. They've yet to pick up any momentum in this game.
Yeah, yet to pick it up, but might be able to put it down. Looking at these guys, I want to know, can these players really lock it down for the side of Attack? I mean, right now, what we have watched from the grid is that they want to win this finals in a 3-0 sweep. And this is now their map pick. They are over double the score line, and they're on a road of victory here. This bonus round, they're bringing 2 rifles into and can still afford.
Exactly. That's what happens when you have so many players staying alive. And blinded, sure, but on the site, they're going to take tower control. No, Naj shuts it down. The support of Ambot certainly helpful in that endeavor. Fan activating. Ambot down, Stunning through smoke. Still 2 alive, but the range at which this Spectre is good isn't all that long. No, Beaver's actually recollected a Vandal.
Okay, Beaver with the Vandal, pretty powerful stuff. I mean,
Last player standing.
especially with his aim, but stuck in the corner. That's going to be a round one. Very expensive, though, for defense. If you lose 3 players, one person is going to have to buy your teammate there. You're not looking too hot cash flow-wise. But with the bomb getting defused, it's hopefully going to assist in their money.
It should be, or it should, at least a little bit. This will be a buy regardless, though, of the economic woes or the difficulties. Yonkos, you win the round, you're definitely going for that purchase. But as you so rightly alluded to at the beginning of that last round, this is still plenty of cash to work with for the grid. They're not in any way struggling to get the weapons out. And they're going to continue to apply the pressure right now. This is going to be an interesting early engagement by the looks of it towards Arcade.
All right, very interesting so far. What is Attack doing? They're going for a big, fat arcade rush.
Yeah, no contact play. As soon as they get spotted, they're going to go, and they have started to move.
Ooh, Ambot's in a great position with that. That's a spike.
Spike down.
Toshi's grabbing Toastery. And Stunny's grabbing Pelt. Stunny's grabbing everything, and that's a flawless round.
Wow. Honestly, I thought that was a pretty good call from the grid. I didn't dislike the call. What they were doing is that they looked to walk until they made contact with the defense, hoping to catch off maybe one player or two getting aggressive. If that happens, great. They can win those gunfights. And if they don't, then maybe just when they take contact, they will surprise the opposition. They wouldn't be prepared for so many players to be walking into their crosshairs. Neither of those things happened. Not a single fight was won. And that's a nice way to set up a 6th round, isn't it?
Yeah, setting it up with also a timeout. You know, I've never thought about that, but a timeout does lock a player on the zip line. It's very rare that you see a timeout on Fracture on a zip line. But with that being said, you know, what can this team, now that this timeout's being called, do separately? Because this is going to be an eco round.
Honestly, I like that they're calling the timeout early. Clearly, there was something that they noticed that they wanted to talk about here. That's why the timeout's been taken. But that's one of those calls that you make, and sometimes you're just not going to win. I don't think it was a strategy issue in that last round. Just what didn't end up working.
Right. I mean, that's definitely fair. And also... Sorry, chat was having a little bit of a tech issue, and I just wanted to make sure that they knew what was going on. Also, looking at this round and how that timeout is, they're okay with losing a few. They're up by 4. You can lose 3 rounds and still be confident if you take those rounds to build up your economy and your ultimates as well. Look at how close they are to just having a full board.
I mean, they're going to have a spike plant for sure. It's this more passive approach. This is very much the way that we were seeing the grid play their defense. They didn't necessarily fight to the death on the site, allowed the site to be overwhelmed, and then they would fight together from there. That's what we're going to see into this round. Fan B applying some pressure. This Stinger can still be very effective depending on the timing that it activates.
Oh, there it is. Stunny grabs Beaver with the trade, but honestly, the defense is doing a decent job, but attack is as well. Both sides can still be taking this here. Toaster, though, mollied off, has to now get that 1v1 and wins it down. And they're buying for time, but no way, they win on time. There's no time to plan it. And they walk away with weapons.
One enemy remaining.
I mean,
Thrifty.
Timotino does not walk away with anything, but Toskry able to get in the mid-round, get that ultimate online, and the orbital strike does enough damage. They weren't anticipating that, the defense, I don't believe, for Yonkos. They just didn't realize that would be on the board, and unfortunately, they pay a very hefty price for it, meaning an 11th round, and kind of the same situation as when we saw a couple of rounds get picked up by Yonkos on that first map, right? Great to get a couple of rounds, but as soon as they give one up, the grid are on 11, and there's a very thin margin for error at this point.
Yeah, very thin margins, and yet they're still rocking it down, still doing a decent job. But look at Toshi. Very upfront. Trigger discipline works. I mean, could have waited a little bit longer, but honestly, getting 1-for-1 is a decent trade. But look at this. It's a Hunter's Fury. What was that from Tito?
And the Beaver
gets him. Oh my, okay.
I'm blown away. Whatever just happened, I ain't got a clue, don't want to know. And but on a 1v3 clutch attempt, and this is for map point. Would be given up if they do not find success. Spotted, in fact, by the Owl drone. A little bit of utility being put out. Confirms where Pelt's located. Stunned out, pushed forward, and 12 gained off the back of that. Very nice stuff here for the Grid. Now 1 round away from being 2 maps up in this grand final.
Wow. If they're 2 maps up, if they have map point advantage, you know, this already, if it was a best of 3, which is the most common way that a finals goes, they've taken it. But looking at the next map, it's Yonkos map on Haven. And we watched a lot of Yonkos on Haven. Haven being that map that I think every team should be fairly even on. If you're not good at Haven as a team, you're not a good team.
Fair point. We'll hold on to that combo, though, for just a moment, because things are not quite done yet here. Still a chance for Yonkos to clutch this up.
Placing swarm grenade.
They have the weaponry to do that. The lockdown, though, from Pelt, as you so rightly pointed out, difficult to handle this. Naj gonna destroy it, though. Takes the fight. Pelt activates, as does Fan on the site. 3 remaining members here for Yonkos. As Fan is going to activate once more. Up the zip. No denial. And the Rolling Thunder on towards the site to try for this retake.
There we go. Like what we're seeing from the defense. They have this, but there isn't a lot of post plant that they can use as long as they have info. But wait a second, there's 2 shock darts remaining. But who needs shock darts when you're Beaver? Double kill to end game 2. Fracture now ending with Yonkos fractured compared to where they were yesterday. Vincent, it's moving on to Haven.
It sure is, and a pretty brutal loss as well. I mean, 13-6 is by no means the close affair that we ultimately ended up on with a 13-9 scoreline for Lotus. So I gotta say, expected in some senses. I expected the Grid to be good on Fracture. They picked the map for a reason. They played it just yesterday. All of those things that I talked about, the reason why I said that I was a bit concerned that the Grid could set up a potential 3-0. All of those things have come to fruition, and just adding insult to injury were some of those tech difficulties that I'm sure weren't helping things in the Yonkos camp.
Yeah, and now looking at this next round coming up, I cannot wait to see what Yonkos can do to try to bring this game back. Because, you know, at the start of this, we talked and we said that this should be a close series, but I think we might have been wrong unless Yonkos is something to prove us wrong or prove us right, maybe. With that being said, though, we will be right back in the next map of Haven starting very soon. And welcome everyone to the next map. It is the grand finals here at the Imperium Elite Series number 1. $2,500 is on the line today. And of course, me and Vincent are ready to watch the gameplay potentially end here on Haven. Vincent, how you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling like things are currently not going to plan for Yonkos, and the Grid have a very commanding lead in this series. The Yonkos victory would have to be in reverse sweep fashion, and it has to start here on Haven. But what better spot for that to happen because of how much we saw the Yonkos, or how well we saw the Yonkos perform on this map up against Street Sweepers yesterday. That has got to be in the back of everyone's mind coming into this game.
Yeah, and now looking at this round coming forward, look at the team. This is pretty much the exact same layout we see them do every single time. Dre on Breach, Stunny on Omen, Naj on KJ, Toshi on Jet, and Ambot on Sova. This is the same exact team composition we saw them on Haven yesterday.
Yep.
And it's nearly mirrored. The only difference, yet again, is a Cypher versus Killjoy. This time, flipped again for the sides.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, FanB has really put on display the power of their Cypher gameplay already, and so I don't mind Cypher here. I think that, I mean, Killjoy, obviously the preferred, more common pick, but I don't think that Cypher's, particularly weak on this map. So it's just more of a play style and a preference thing right now for specifically FanB, but I don't think that that'll end up hurting their chances in any way, especially if FanB continues to play as well as they have throughout this series and on this agent.
Yikes.
Well, let's see if that agent's going to help. Already we're seeing the first blood fall. Toshi falls to Toskri, and that's the T to the T with the Jet on both. That's not going to get complicated at all now, isn't it? Let's see this rotate, though, from attack. They look like they're taking it slow, but defense, they're kind of getting throttled back and forth here.
And FanB has lurked into a fantastic spot, really making it difficult to take space, and that cam actually will give so much information. I have no idea. 2 approaches from A link, from B link, or from C link as well. First information being gathered already through its FanB, taking some shots, maybe a little bit less than committed, but we'll hit the shots anyway. And Beaver and Toskri hit 2 others. That is a clean round.
Wow. Beaver already in the first round here is playing better than he did the entire time on Lotus. So liked what we're seeing from Beaver, definitely turned on his monitor, but I'm also liking what we're seeing from, as you pointed out, FanB. This player got an amazing angle, said, hey guys, site's clear. If they push, they have to get through me. And that was a free site, free plant. And already this aggressive team, the Grid, is making sure that they are taking this game early on.
Yep, they are, and they've done that pretty much without fail. I mean, Fracture was a little bit different in that Yonkos got the opening 3 rounds, but from that point on, there was basically nothing that Yonkos could find success with in that first half. So
1 enemy remaining.
This is looking very similar in that it's pretty swiftly turning into a quick round.
Ooh, Aftershock into a blind, but does have a dash to get it out. Toshi ball banging, doing the damage, will hurt a lot. Pelt will fall this player, and now we're seeing attackers at a huge advantage here, with very few of them actually getting taken down in that second round.
Exactly, and that's another thing that's been very good, I think, for the Grid. Just generally speaking, their anti-eco rounds have been very, very clean. They just haven't been losing more than 2 players really on these, up against these ecos. Whereas the Grid, when they're on eco, when they're working with sheriffs, it's always dangerous. And Yonkos have got to figure out a way to deal with that if this game kind of goes down to the wire, as honestly, I sort of expect it could be. The question, though, is are Yonkos still mentally ready to get into this game? This has already been a pretty grueling series for them with 2 losses.
Spike down, C.
Yeah, 2 losses on their belt, but hey, just because they've lost twice doesn't mean they can't lose again. Let's see this, though. Dre grabbing the pick down. looking to see if they can get some blinds to get the counter. Sunny really needs to get these trades, but it's Dre, the only player that really is making it work. Now, 2-2. This is going to be tough for the side of attack, but if they can get their hands on any of the rifles they fell, they should be able to maybe clutch this round and bonus.
Great patience, though, right now. From the grid, they're just re-clearing back towards C. They'll get that spike planted. Both players for the defense of Yonkos have fallen back and given up a lot of space. And look at how much Fan B has gathered back. Has the entirety of spawn covered off. Knows they're not coming from Link. Knows they're not on B. There's really only 2 positions that they could be coming from. And based on the spike plant position, there's no way they're expecting their...
Wow. What a shot, though, from Timotino. Taking out that player, making a 1v2. Fan B finds the player who's stunned, stuck on site, and that's a bonus round with 2 players still standing and a lot of HP. Wait, so much HP, in fact, that they don't even have to buy armor anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that was an utterly ridiculous round just on its face, in that it was so effective that play that was made in the mid-round when the 2v2 gets started to just cut all sound and wait for 20 seconds, then re-hit C, worked beautifully. It pulled both players from Yonkos off that site.
Wow. If it works, it works. These guys definitely have what it takes to take the game, but I also want to see what these guys on defense can do with sheriffs in hand. Pushing right into Fan B, who's staring at a camera. No time for selfies, time to self-reflect as Dre takes him down and as the attack side runs it down onto C.
So they have control, do the grid, but honestly, that control is somewhat tentative. As soon as these smokes fade, there'll be a lot of players coming back in. Paranoia towards the site. Nas looking to activate around on main. Dre's going to take out the player on site. And now it's a matter of hitting these shots. 1v4.
Spike down, C. Thrifty.
Oh, big pick there. And now a thrifty round is going to help them out. They came in with sheriffs and they left with rifles and a point to crush that bonus. So very similar to what happened on the reverse side of things previously on Fracture. So I like that these teams are taking turns doing some cool stuff.
The one thing to note, though, because of those 3 rounds wins in a row, the economy is just fine. There's still a very solid chance for the grid to regain the momentum that they've just lost. It's not a guarantee here for Yonkos. They're going to be setting up pretty standard A short play here in Sewer. Ready for the stun. As soon as that stun were to come through or information were to be gained, Naj will swing.
Ooh, Toshi. Go, spots him out, grabs the pick on a Fan B. Very unfortunate for these attackers to lose a player like that. That's the second time in a row it's happened, but the Rolling Thunder is rolling them out. But look at that, Timotino doubles up the players on the flank. Might be able to get a triple if you
One
just
enemy
get
remaining.
Dre. And he does. It's now a 1v3, but where's the Omen? Right behind you. There it is. The spike carrier's down.
Spike
Where are you
down
going,
A.
Pelt?
Pelt thought that the safe play was to go back through Sewer in order to get into position to get that spike down. Unfortunately, chose wrong. Line set up. There's still 2 flashpoints and the aftershock as well. Both going to be put into usage. Stunny, we've seen a clutch or 2 from them before. Spike's been regained, but a double swing and is going to end that attempted 1v3 clutch. So 4-1, regaining control are the grid.
Wow. Taking control, gaining what they need to, and winning it out. Beautiful job there. I like what we're seeing from them, and I'm hoping that they can keep this kind of motion going. But I'm also looking at 4 ultimates here, Vincent. I'm looking at Beaver, who is already playing double. Actually, add all of the kills that he's gotten in the previous games, and that's where he's at now. So Beaver's definitely turned things up here for us.
I thought Beaver had like 12 kills in the last map. Maybe I'm wrong.
I can
Anyway,
actually check. He had 13.
certainly stepping up. So
13 kills.
fair enough. Well, this is going to be some interesting timing. Fan B walking up mid. Toshi not looking the right direction. Like ships in the night, they pass. And they're none the wiser either. The A site is about to be under fire. Beaver takes out the flanker, and Fan B is in a spot that ain't nobody have a clue that he's in.
Where is everyone hiding?
There we go. With a nice clean shot to help them out. Let's see what else can happen from these players. Big push up. Ambot kind of stuck. Wanted to get that gun, but just couldn't. And here we are, knives in hand. The Blade Storm. Will it rain? It looks like somebody will. What is that? Oh! I just love Tosker's gameplay on Jet. It's just so clean.
It is, and it certainly helps that Timotino had everyone blind there the entire time. 5 assists already for the breach. We talked about it, and though Dre is currently fragging well, has no assist to speak of. This is a 5-1 scoreline that's looking a little bit more and more dominant every time a round gets added to the tally.
Yeah, with these rounds now just adding up and up and up, we're looking at another sheriff-only round, but they won the previous, so this is possible. Maybe less possible now.
Yeah, certainly subtract that possibility minus at least 2, something along those lines. Tashi gonna add another to the tally. This is evening things up. Blade Storm still alive means that this is very winnable, but there's 3 ultimates still ready here for the offense. The Grid can put those into fruition whenever they desire. And a pretty solid handle of this site as well.
Yeah, very solid handle here. But Beaver
should be
AFK. Able to do some more, but Beaver is going to do more. Grabs yet another pick on Atoshi. And Naj AFK?
I mean,
and, he got
DC'd
again.
I'm sure, but yeah.
I wish we could tell them, but obviously we can't because competitive integrity. But bye-bye, Naj. Wait.
He'll go down the spike regardless.
Just passed him. Timo just walked past him. He looked at him and walked away.
That's funny.
Well, Bobby did it anyways.
Yeah,
could have been an old charge.
True. And the understandable tech pause coming in. So very difficult, as Naj's ISP hates him more than mine does, which is saying something.
Yeah. Now, what else is saying something is what I'm looking at. Do we think that these guys have what it takes to seal it out and lock this game down? I'm looking at now with Naj constantly having these internet issues today. I think this team is just getting a little bit tilted overall, and their mentals being impacted by this. It's beyond just that last game. It's now into this game as well. And we did a lot of discussion as how that actually impacts players, whether it's good or bad, but you can feel the effects of it.
It certainly feels like, they were maybe able to get back into things on Fracture. Getting hit with it again here, it just has to bring up all that frustration once again. And yeah, it feels like with this start to map 3 on a map that Yonkos picked, it's certainly got to be weighing heavy. Obviously, not in the minds of these individuals, but I would be feeling the pressure if it was me. And you got to assume something along the same lines there for the Yonkos. Not to mention, man, the Grid just playing a good game right now. Very fundamental. They're not doing anything particularly crazy. They're just taking gunfights, playing together, trading frags, and that's it.
And it works. That's a good point as well. These guys have been making it work very well for them. So looking at these players being able to just really lock this in, lock it up, I'm also hopeful that what we can see from this next round is going to be only the best from players on the side of defense, especially Toshi. Now I'm picking up an operator here. If you have the op, you have the opportunity to take anybody down quickly enough where you don't have to worry about multiple trades happening and multi-kills. But that's if Toshi has the reaction time. And right now, Toshi has been playing well on the lurk, but 2-6. So this op is going to have to become a crutch for this team.
Yeah, I mean, Toshi also hasn't had that many opportunities to have high impact. Has rotated into like a very overwhelmed A site quite often. But that kind of brings up an interesting point that I think we really haven't touched too much on. This might be the first operator we've actually seen this whole series. Like, nobody's really opt.
You're right. I don't think we've seen a lot of ops. We were expecting some to come out on Fracture, but they never really came out. But now an op here, you could tell desperation. I mean, not only is an op on Haven a useful weapon for defense, it's not greatest when it comes to retakes. It's very hard to retake on this map with an op. There's a lot of angles. I mean, think of retaking a site with an op. You're going to have to hit some wild shots if you want to make it work. So you're going to have to drop that op regardless to find yourself a better weapon for retake.
I mean, yeah, you really need your teammates to play around you if you are gonna work that in. It's great for holding that angle, for example, that your teammates swinging out, you're just holding for the swing. That's great. But if you have to do anything, clear stuff on your own, you're in trouble, and that's exactly what has been required in a couple of these rounds already for Yonkos. So as we wait for Naj to get everything figured out, he's still not back, unfortunately. I just gotta wonder at what point Yonkos are just feeling so much pressure that we were talking about, that, like you're saying, mental just a little bit gone. Also, I love how everybody is like, the default is just to jump around like this.
Yeah.
You don't gain any momentum. You can't be up.
Yeah, this ain't a Valve game, guys. Sorry, you're not going to be able to gain any speed. But while we're here, let's talk some stats, because we have a lot of stats here overall from this tournament. Now, what if I were to tell you that in the entirety of the top 16 bracket, so the main playoffs here, what if I were to tell you that Timo Tino has one of the highest averages on assists here?
That wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, we've already talked about it ad nauseum, right? The amount of times that Timo Tino has really delivered in the assist category, but just in general has played incredibly well. Just kind of going back to things over on Lotus, had 16 assists. And then, flip over towards Fracture. Timo Tino has 14 assists. So, yeah, not at all surprising in my book. And that just kind of goes to show you, I talked about it for Fracture, about the difference between breaches and the breach play. Timo Tino delivering on all fronts.
Absolutely. Now, looking at this, let's hope that we can see not only Timo Tino delivering, but some other stats for us. Obviously, having that agent, the initiators, they're the guys that get the most assists, because the whole point is that you open the door for your teammates to walk through. Now, looking at this team, so I got it organized by team here. We have these players, Chris M. You might have heard that name before. An amazing player, currently on this team, known as Ambot, by the way. So Ambot here is Chris M, if you want to know. Chris M is averaging with a 171 ACS per map, a decent amount of time. And just for you, Vincent, let me take a screenshot of this and send it your way, just in case. So you can see these and join me in the stats here for the next tech pause, which we know is coming up.
And, we currently in to the game. Rolling Thunder hoping to be forced back via Dre. Puts the utility to good use. And Toshi's already found that opening pick with the operator that we were discussing. Toskri finding one as well. But this is actually a very good start right now for Yonkos, something they haven't had so much success on.
Oh, and ultimate used to get them across the map. Will plant it down. Defense Killjoy is going to be able to do this, but do they have the lineups? That's the real question, because in this position, lineups are dangerous.
Cover going out.
I like what we're seeing from Stunny being able to now get onto site, but no way. He stuck it just to take crits out? That's insanity.
2v2 activates. It's not as if this is unwinnable by any means. Maybe going to commit to that, but both fights won there by Yonkos. They finally gotten things back. Naj, a nice shot, as will Stunny find his. 6-2, much better from Yonkos.
Yeah, much better from Yonkos. And also very clean there from Stunny, as well as their KJ Naj. Naj having all of these issues with their connectivity. I will point out they're currently number 25 in the overall standings here, statistically, as ACS is concerned. Average ACS per map, 226. So pretty well in this game here. Now, they also have only played on 4 maps, I believe. So that's also interesting.
Yeah, Unfortunately, haven't had the same network troubles in the previous day of this event. It'll be a pre-entry. Timatino going to deliver that. Beaver waiting for the rotation, and Tashi is actually there. Tries to get fancy with the updraft, doesn't work out. Rolling Thunder from the defense of Yonkos. Gonna bring it back in. Fan delivering another shot, traded by Naj, but Fan still alive. And he'll collect the third.
Okay, not bad. Clean as ever to really lock that in, and now attack is going to be yet again at an advantage, and will continue this advantage if they could just win a few more rounds. Beaver 13-4, now mirroring the amount of kills he had in last game on Fracture. I'm also looking forward to what else we can see from players like Toskri here, who, yes, are getting a decent amount of frags, but aren't really at that entry level where you would expect them to really start popping off. But again, looking at the defense, I'm not sure what they can do better.
Well, right now, just about getting some damage done or maybe finding a win. You mentioned before that one of the 2 rounds they do have is one of these sheriff type of rounds, and that's a good way to start. Ambot, though, taking a lot of damage, has a back of the head to shoot at. Dre will find a 1-for-1. Stunning. And Co. Naj right outside of this smoke. The owl drone for Beaver there to find information. Is Timotino just delivering a headshot at the edge of that smoke.
Last player standing.
Ooh, clean shot from Timo. And Beaver is going to do what Beaver does today, getting another pick. So now, I know I said it earlier on, now Beaver at 16 kills is equal to all of his previous kills in the past matches combined. So, good stuff.
Yeah, and fair enough. You mentioned, right, we were talking about maybe a little bit of a struggle on Lotus. You know, you said immediately, like, hey, this guy, put him on something like a Sova, and he's absolutely a fragger. And here we're seeing it come to fruition just a couple of maps later. Absolutely what we're seeing here. As there's a gun round coming up. This one, I mean, 8 rounds already for the grid. I feel like Yonkos really need this one.
They do. And that's going to help out. Chris M taking out Beaver. Do it again, though. Dre grabbing one. But what is that? Winning a 180. Well, uh-oh. Got to get it back up there. Toskri living up to the entry. Gets another one. And another. A road to an ace if they could just find Stunny. But Pelt is not given that opportunity. They're now at 9, and we're moving into the last round of the half, threatening a 10-2 or a 9-3.
The individualism on this grid squad is just so impressive right now. It doesn't matter who it is because everybody can deliver, but everybody has had 1 or 2 of these rounds over this map or even the last map to just step into the round and win it individually. That is something that we don't currently see from Yonkos that they've had previously that they're struggling with. I mean, again, you just look at individuals like Tashi who have been relied upon prior to this. Currently, a bit of a struggle to get that consistent fraggy power online this map.
Here we go. Using an ulti like this, it's going to be great. But, oh, Toskri just running it down. Knives in hand, but careful behind you. There's a KJ. They're just weaving between the smokes. And that is going to be the pick. Naj online, getting a triple kill. Can you find the 4th? You can. Naj turning up and turning these players' monitors off, as that is the way to come back after a rough technical issue.
Well, and that's exactly what we've been missing. That high caliber individual play that Naj has been known for has just come alive and maybe breathed a breath of fresh air straight into the lungs of Yonkos into this map and into this series. As mentioned, the requirement reverse sweep for them to take that first place prize right now at $1,500 for first. The grid, though, have a massive advantage.
Right here.
This 9-3 scoreline. Pistol round. Been a bit of a struggle at times, but I say that I think they've split the pistols on both previous maps, so it has been back and forth.
Very much so. Now looking at this movement coming forward, Toshi, what can you do for us? I mean, I like the position. But I'm also loving Timo getting gunned down by Naj. Another pistol round demon activating here, and a potential comeback here for this team. But Fan cannot seem to get the trade, and now it's all up to Pelt, who previously clutched a pistol. This time, I'm not so certain.
Yeah, this is a lot more unattainable. 4 on the opposition rather than 2, and the HP for all but 1 is relatively high.
Cover going out.
1 dark cover, that's going to be used. Still has a paranoia. That could certainly give some ideas over. But a good position for the low HP Toshi. Going to knock Pelt down a notch, and he'll hopefully try to find something, but I somehow doubt it.
Yeah, I might doubt it as well, but things happen, and these guys are definitely showing up well. The grid, ready to go, but good luck getting those exit frags. I mean, 9-4. Okay. I mean, winning that pistol round definitely opens it up. We talked about the stats yesterday of how a 9-3 works. And if for those who weren't watching yesterday, if you win the pistol round, your odds of winning that game increase to about 40% compared to 10%.
Exactly. So, considering that fact, we've got the pistol round victory. That shoots up to 40%, at least on paper. Unfortunately, we've seen some good closing performances from the grid already today, and this could be another one of them. They do have 4 upgraded pistols into this round, and they've got 3 of them on this site.
Oh, clean shot. Beaver, do it again. You know you got the skills. You know you got it, but it's actually a double kill down. Stunny and Ambot here. Chris M is just massacring these players, leaving only 2 remaining. What can they do on the flank? Nothing against Naj, and they actually grab the orb right before the bomb gets planted, leaving only Pelt in another 1v4 back-to-back.
Yeah, getting a little deja vu right here. I mean, an additional frag would be nice. Had the chance. Misses the opportunity, and this is all but over. And really, I think the conversation more interestingly is how to approach this next round if you are the grid. They've lost those opening 2, but this is the big one. As we talked about back on Fracture, even just 1 or 2 rounds like this bonus can be making it all that much easier for the grid to close this out. So a pretty important round is upcoming, even though it isn't the biggest of weapon purchases for Yonkos.
That's fair. I mean, this is a big round. Here, Yonkos, I think, might be able to take this if they play the same way, if they are able to just guard their flanks, not getting pushed from behind, and just keep their damage up. But, of course, rifles versus 1 rifle and a bulldog, and then any SMG to fill, this is going to be a tough one.
Information given out. Pelt knows they have support on the site. Nice blind. Dre will activate off of the back of that, but Fan still being on the back of this site is certainly problematic. Has support in the name of Timo, and that will mean 3 kills, 1 left to survive. That's Naj, whose clutch potential is high, but not high enough for the 1v4.
Yeah, not going to be high enough there, but honestly, good stuff here. Now, defense taking the round and getting double digits on the board. This is going to be tough. Of course, Fan, being the Cypher that we know him to be, already has his ultimate up, which I think on this map, as big as it is, if you can get some info early, you will be able to, you know, have a decent early round. But after about 20 seconds from using the Cypher ultimate, it kind of loses its effect, especially on a map where people can easily rotate anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not ideal if you're not able to make some actionable decisions very quickly. Oh, but Fan, I thought maybe used that neural theft immediately, but gets traded quickly before they can toss out the hat. C-site under fire. And it'll be taken over. 4v4, and there's no ultimates to retake with.
Here we go. Timo. Great positioning here. If you can use it, a flashbang and an aggressive push should be able to get him 1 or 2. But instead, Chris M shuts him down, and Naj gets his teammate from behind as well. And it's all up to Pelt. Again, another 1v2.
This one much more winnable, but Ambot delivers. 3K for the Sova. for Yonkos and a 6th round on the board. That is pretty darn devastating to the economy as well. The grid. They're going to rebuy, and it's not as devastating as I had anticipated, but they have one Spectre. They aren't going to have the full shields either. And so, a loss into this next round, that will really solidify the potential for the comeback, I think. You could really start having that conversation after this round if we see Yonkos win it.
Ooh, and let's see if they can win it now. Running it back, running it down. Toskri should be able to not get spotted here. And that stun's going to really help him out. But what a shot, Chris M! You can stun him, but you can't kill him. Toshi's going to do the same to Beaver. This is perfect. Exactly what attack needs to do. And now Timo manages to escape. But look at the flank. We got 2 players knowing that they got spotted. They have to rotate all the way around to Timo's aid.
And Ambot's going to more or less confirm that nobody's here.
Camera taken out.
Or maybe that won't be the case. Ambot running for the hills, spotted out. Fan looking to find another. Timo connecting. 3 shots, a 4th kill for Timo, and Fan activates for short. That is an incredible retake. Once again, the individual prowess of the grid coming to the forefront.
Beautiful job. Beautiful job. You know, I just saw someone say comeback incoming. Well, I think not with that kind of gameplay from Timo, shutting these players back. But if they want to stop this big clutch potential, you're going to have to use ultimates to secure rounds here. I need to see some Rolling Thunders. I need to see a lockdown, maybe even a Hunter's Fury early to try to get some picks. Anything here needs to happen to put this team in the next stages of this half.
Hell, it's 11-6, one more round loss, and you're on not just map point, but series and grand final point. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Use whatever you need, whatever you have in order to gather this success, because this is one of the last chances to do it.
Let's see if Timo's going to take his chance. Uh-oh. Toskri's in a really awkward position if he gets flanked from there. Dre is actually going to use that angle to get Timo instead. Unfortunate for Timo getting gunned down, but this is a round where you're only having a few limited rifles in hand. 1 classic, Blade Storm, and a Sheriff. Here we go. Toshi, what can you do? Spots out the Cypher, and I know fans not going to want to peek that again, but beautiful hold. Naj has been doing a great job stopping these players from flanking him.
Beaver doesn't get the tag, though. This will be 5-on-3. Very heavy advantage over towards Yonkos. And Tashi will double up 2 with the Blade Storm. And that's the ultimate. Only 1 actually required, but a massive victory off the back of it.
Yeah, big to take that without losing so many lives. Nearly a pseudo-thrifty there with only 3 players coming into the round with a rifle. And I think what really came down there was the early aggression towards mid. Unfortunately for Timo, if he gets gunned down, he can't use that Rolling Thunder, which is almost a guaranteed retake from this team, as we've seen before. Their retake is insane for strength. Now, looking at this, I know that they still used 1 of those ultimates to get around. You got 4 more, and if you use 1 ultimate to take a round each time, there's a potential of going this to 11-11.
That said, I mean, it's a lot more difficult to use and get so much value out of some of these other ultimates. And even the Hunter's Fury, which is really quite easy to get value from, isn't always a guarantee there. Into a tech pause as well, by the way. Unfortunately, Toskri had like 1,000 ping, so just gonna wait for that to get a bit lower, and then we'll get back into the action. But yeah, using these ultimates that they have remaining efficiently will certainly be a pretty significant factor in my book for Yonkos.
Well, let's see what they can do now. We are 7-11. Scoreboard on the board here. I think defense should not be able to win this round. Personally, they shouldn't be able to take it. Will they? That's up to them to show me, because they've done it before. And do I think they might? I'll give them a 50% chance right now. Honestly, it's a coin flip, even with all of this downgraded weaponry.
Toskri has bought a gun here. Can grab an orb though and pick up a Blade Storm and is right on top of an orb. I would assume is going to grab it at some point. It's not done so. The rest of the attack over towards C. A little bit of a missed dash there from Tashi, but there's nobody home. And Toshiri's actually rotated off without grabbing that orb. Hunter's Fury will deny the planter. Even gets another tag on Tashi.
Wow. Beaver, I mean, really just coming into his own today. That's why you never rule him out when he's playing Gecko. But here we have the retake abilities. They're using 2 ultimates to secure it down. Toskri will fall. And so will everyone to Stunny before the final trade comes through. But it's a 2v2, and defense is taking a lot of damage. And they're looking behind, but wait a second. Someone got tagged here.
Yeah.
Omen's stuck down.
Stuck in the lockdown. Hefty price tag to this round at the moment. Beaver alone for the time being, but waiting for the dark cover to get activated. And he'll eventually go down through that smoke. 8 to 11. Comeback certainly on the mind for Yonkos as they've just limited the grid and now cutting their deficit to 3.
Okay. Well, cutting it in half. I mean, this could be winnable. I mean, they really start bringing this back. I mean, I hold tab, and I'm seeing a lot more red here for attack side taking rounds in this half. But of course, that was a eco round. It was an expensive one because they did use a few ultimates here. They used Beavers and Teemos, but now they have the Bladestorm ultimate to try to pop into, and they're going to need to actually connect these knives, or it's going to be a little bit of a messy round.
Add on to that, though, that they forced 3 ultimates from the other side as well. So a pretty good trade, all things considered, for the grid. Slower approach, or more aptly, a quieter approach. I will drone out towards C. Information being gathered along via Toshi. They're going to turn around. No confirmation about where this is headed.
Ooh, big pick. Do it again, can you? Let's see it. Toski with 1 knife needs to find another, but only finds a bullet to the brain. This is looking rough now. 4-4, and an ultimate to try to help them take the site. And a lot of util. Jesus, they're dumping it on Fan and the timing, but he just barely managed to stay alive and back up his teammate, popping his ultimate. If he finds the info, he can clutch the round, but he's blind as a bat. And unfortunately, so is the round, winning it out 12-8. This is a match point here, Vincent.
Just cool under pressure there is Fan. Sure, gets so much support from the team. That's the big deal, but the communication to be able to allow his team to support him there and being cool under pressure, not panicking, not getting into position where he's not going to be able to find a frag, being able to fall back, all of those great things to watch their Fan delivering 12. We're at map, series, and grand final point.
All right, here we go. Beaver. Let's see what we can get. Using that is going to spot out 1 and actually connect the hit with it. They really like A. They don't go B. They don't go C. They go A every time.
Push onto this site free, and that it's been given up by the defense. A lot of that retake setup that we saw back on Lotus now coming to fruition in this round for the grid. Setup only from the shadows when it comes to the ultimates for either side as they get activated. Here it is.
Ooh, big aftershock to force people out, but they're lining up for it. Here we go. Toshi stuck in this corner is going to be spotted, but the spray still stands. And that's it. Toshi, beautiful job. Just cleaning house, cleaning up, and cleaning this round. Now 9-3. It's not over yet.
Whenever we're seeing big hero plays from Yonkos, I feel like Toshi's there. Hasn't been able to do that consistently throughout this match, but has started to step up and do it more and more often as the game continues. But this is going to have to be a flawless run of 4 rounds. They've already picked up the first, have Yonkos, but they need 3 more. And this one, well, a little bit easier, at least on paper. Spectre in the hands of Fan. Sheriffs and a couple of pistols elsewhere.
like this. Big blind. That's going to help out a ton. But if you're going to blind, you're also going to have to shoot. Looks like we are seeing Chris M really deal this damage out. Stunning here for it. Toshi here as well grabs Beaver. In attack, they are just not giving any space. Luckily, space will be swiped from underneath them, though. Fan needs to take any gun and any gunfight to try to win this out for his team.
Info gathering play there with the teleport. Fan has got another one, dodges the flash, and that's some nice damage from Fan at the late stages of that. Pelt, though, goes down, and all 5 players get involved for a team ace there on that one. Round number 23 coming up next. And this one is the round. Yonkos, they have everything, but the grid have the same.
All right, well, I'm looking at Pelt. This ultimate might be able to get some info early, and I think they might have to do that. You know, where do you use this? Do you use it now? But wait a second. It's another A push. They're just going to go A to play it, and it works. They're getting the picks, they're getting the frags, but there's the trade from Beaver. There's your top frag that you need, the match frag, 22-14.
And that is what was a 4-player stack on the A side as well. Finally adjusting the grid, just putting everyone here. No reason to commit, and look at this. Yonkos aren't even rotating off. They're just waiting. There's a couple of different outcomes here, maybe hoping that there's going to be some additional aggression from the grid that'll give them the chance to take some fights. Alternatively, they wait long enough, the rotation from the grid will go off of the A site.
Here we go. Are they going to go off the A site?
Doesn't look like it.
Nope, they're staying there. Ambot now having this Owl drone should be able to get as much information as this team needs, but they're heavily relying on this site because they don't have a lot of time if it fails. They have to either take this or rotate now.
30 seconds
they didn't check
left.
the left corner.
Oh, well, they're spamming it too. That's a lot of information. And the blind's going to counter, but what? Blinded still gets the pick. Pelt needs to hold this. 1v2. Manages to spot one. But the spray, it's just not there. Moving too fast for the crosshair. And now we're at almost overtime.
That one recon bolt actually saved right there. This entire game for Yonkos. I mean, if that recon bolt doesn't show those 3 players, I mean, I just don't know how that goes down. Ambot with a great position of that. The smoke goes down and nobody was ready. Final round of regulation. If it'll happen on this broken by Bulldogs, Stinger, Spectre, and a single Vandal for the grid.
There we go. Okay, looks like they did counter it, but for the first time in a long time, they've Pavlov this team. We're going A, we're going A, we're going A. Just kidding, it's C for the final round of this game. And they might be able to bring it to overtime because they completely just took this team by storm. And now the ultimates are flying. They have to get the pick, and they will. But check your corners, Pelt. That's a free pick for Toshi. Now, Toshi can get a decent flank going here if he just manages to play it out smart. But Fan takes the aggro.
And there was a tripwire there. Toshi couldn't have rotated without the information. Toshi activating! Toshi for 4! That's overtime confirmed here for Yonkos.
Switching sides.
Okay. Wow.
Overtime.
Beautiful job there. I mean, everything that they're doing is just able to get us into overtime, but can they keep this overtime moving? The thing about it is, I think that, yes, Haven is an attack-sided map, and this team has an attack-sided team comp to pair with it, and you can see that in how they managed to win the game on both sides. Both teams love being on attack. So now that we've seen a switch of the sides, and that's going to happen a few times here, this could go anywhere.
That it could. With that said, a lot of those rounds in the comeback were ecos. Now, that's not a problem for the grid. They have guns every round. Toshi back to the operator. We saw just 1 or 2 frags from that weapon the entire map. It looks like B is under pressure. Toski with the first in the opening pick.
Okay, well, Opening pick definitely helping. Attack taking B. And it's funny because I actually really like B compared to the other team who is a C and A just complete fan of. But here's Chris M. Still has a bunch of util. This owl drone should be able to spot some stuff out, but instead of using any utility, they just swing and get a spray down on a beaver, taking them out. Now using the owl drone. Oh my god, Pelt's getting so unlucky today. Luckily, though, we'll get the trade. 3-3 to hold it. And Toskri's here for the damage. Nosh swings out and grabs 2, making it 3 in total. Can you find the 4th? Popping an ultimate. But this is Fanboy's map.
Oh my goodness. There's just no way. Patience under pressure from the lockdown is Fan B. And that is an incredible victory. Gathering another match point for the grid. And it's kind of funny that you mention it. I did look, and you're right. Not a single time in the semifinal yesterday did we see a B plant from Yonkos. And I don't think they've done it here today either.
Optional, I guess, is what I'm seeing. But that helped them out. It got them to this point. But now I'm looking at a big push up from Toskri. Oh, this could be big. And it will be. There's 1. There's 2. Get the 3rd. Get the 4th. Get the 5th. End this game. Najee, the clutch up, but can't. The whole series is over, Vincent. 3-0 as we have watched the grid grind their way through and put themselves on the map.
That they have $1,500 as well in their pocket. They take that first place prize and a domination, really, of this grand final. 3-0 in fashion, a close affair there in the last map. But in every scenario, the first half was the grid focused. And it was only the attempted comebacks of Yonkos time after time that made any of this close.
Yeah, honestly, they really did lock this in and completely took it back. Yonkos, they tried their best, but when you're facing off against the grid, they came up from underneath and they took this. Very similarly to how I've seen them do it many other series across the tier 2 scene. The grid, also known as Mimic, GG, also known as probably the best Canadian team in tier 2, and I stand by that. They know how to rock it. But Yonkos, an amazing attempt, an amazing gameplay, and with that being said, GG's to everybody who did compete here in the Imperium Elite Series number 1. I can't wait to see where Imperium goes next, but I can't wait to see these teams going on to see even bigger and brighter days. Vincent, it's been an honor casting with you. Thanks for being my co-caster today.
It's been a pleasure. And with that, I think we've just about reached the end of things here. One more congratulations to the grid, though. I mean, and Yonkos with a valiant effort. Any final thoughts before we do pop it over, Edu?
Well, honestly, no final thoughts. I know that Mitch probably has a whole speech prepared, so let's toss it over to him.
Just a short speech, something real short for you, okay, Edu? No, thank you guys for coming out today. Vincent, Edu, you guys did an awesome job over the last 2 days, and especially these teams. We had 64 amazing teams, and I know there's a lot more of you guys that wanted to sign up but weren't able to because we did max out. If you guys ever want to in the future, we announce these tournaments way ahead in advance, so make sure you stay in our Discord server and look for our announcements and our tournament news because we post this months in advance. So with that being said, Imperium Elite Series Tournament, the first ever winners, the grid, they played extremely well, 3-0 fashion. Overall, appreciate all of you guys for joining us here on AfreecaTV today, and appreciate AfreecaTV for allowing us to run such a massive tournament here at Imperium. So overall, thank you everyone. Thank you Vincent and Edu for coming out and helping. Thank you to all our amazing viewers. And with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your weekends and have a great week.